Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. How are we doing, gang? Welcome. I'm back. For those of you who are old here, I've been off for the last week and a bit. And yeah, I took a few days off last week because was having really bad migraines. But then I was feeling a little bit better, and then obviously all the Charlie Kirk stuff happened, and I needed to take a few days off to recover from that. Was obviously such a big fan of him while he was around, but here we are, fully recovered, back, ready to yap. And new setup. Yeah, I basically rotated my old setup 90 degrees in the time that I was off because I wanted access to the balcony before the end of the summer. So yeah, here we are. Here we are. Welcome, welcome. We'll see how this goes with the new setup, see if it works well, but it feels more cozy and comfy. Hiya, Smile. How you doing? You have a doctor's appointment in an hour. Oh well, that's a shame. We're gonna be missing you. But thanks for coming along. And Rami as well is here nice and early. Nice to have you. Happy birthday, Rami. Happy birthday. Hope all's going well. I feel like Utah's been in the news a lot lately, I guess. So I think that's your ends, right? um, have you seen the Nepali Revolution video? Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today, actually. Yeah, I thought we could watch some of the content around that. But the world's been going a bit crazy in the week I've been away. I'm sorry, guys. This is what happens when I'm not here to keep things calm. But we're back at least, eh? And I'll let you figure out whether or not that's sarcasm, okay? But yeah, it feels like so much has been happening in the last week and a half. As soon as I decide to take a little bit of rest, the world decides to implode on itself. But well, yes, that's the world we live in now, eh? Hi, Alossol. How you doing? We living in Game of Thrones. We are living in Game of Thrones. That's what it feels like. Yeah, back to medieval times in more ways than one, eh? It is a cat, Anton. It is a cat, and she has a much more camera-friendly angle than now for you. Smart says, hope your head feels better. Me and my friends who suffer migraines were out of service for like 4 days last week. Completely understandable. Yeah, I am feeling a lot better. But yeah, on the Friday, I was just like completely out of action. And for the whole weekend, really, I just like couldn't look at screens and stuff. And it was just completely frying my brain. But we're back. We're feeling better. We're staying hydrated. Got my Arizona green tea. We're going to be good. And also just taking a few days off, I think was good in general. I think I'd been pushing my body a bit. Jules T says, I fear that things are going to get a lot darker in this country. Yeah, mate. All I'll say is I'm glad I'm not there, but it doesn't really feel like this is the end. This really feels like the start. But we'll get into it. We're not going to talk too much about the Kirk stuff. We've got a little bit of stuff to cover around the text messages, which I think were quite interesting. If you haven't seen the alleged text messages of the shooter, they look so fake. But it is a very crime focused stream this week, and we're gonna mainly catch up on the Luigi situation because I feel like there have been some interesting updates over there. But yeah, it's good to be back online. It's good to be testing the new setup. Seems to work. Hey Aniko, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome back. And Chris as well says, lurking fan, glad to catch the stream live. Nice to have you here, mate. And also hi to all the other lurkers who were chilling in the background. You are seen even if you're not heard. Yeah. Before I jumped on, I was watching a reaction of anyone. Is anyone familiar with the Try Guys? They were an ex BuzzFeed community of dudes, right? And they made like BuzzFeed kind of content. But one of the dudes was a massive wife guy and ended up being caught cheating on his wife with one of the staff. And obviously, because everything has to be content now, he's just released a podcast with his wife or his ex-wife where they go in deep about him banging his assistant for months on end. I don't know why everything needs to be content now. But yes, highly recommend looking into Ned Fulmer if you haven't. It's something else. Smart says, I read a comment that said that 2025 is the year of class consciousness building up. Sounds about right. Yeah, feels that way. Feels that way. If not now, then when would it be? Uh, Nicholas said, I'm doing great. I also noticed that this is perfect for chat to get the cat cam for the chat. Yeah, exactly. You get a perfect cat cam if she's feeling cooperative. So I think she's having a nice little angle. I'll see if I can put the focus on her. There we go. She's looking right at you, saying hello. You can get full screen cat while we wait. Breaking news: Jimmy Kimmel's show just got pulled because of Kirk comments. Has that just happened? Jimmy Kimmel. Oh shit! Yeah, ABC suspends Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely over Charlie Kirk comments. What did he say? Damn. Hang on. Okay, let's transform. Transform. Okay, we're back. Yeah, an hour ago, Jimmy Kimmel got suspended. Let's see. Oh, okay. Apparently that's not ready. Okay, bear with me. Also, I'm gonna put this focus back. Give us a second, lads. Give us a second. Ooh, there we go. And there you go. ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after host Charlie Kirk comments. What did he say? What did he say? Disney's ABC said it would take Jimmy Kimmel's popular late night show off its schedule indefinitely after one of the biggest owners of TV stations in the US, Nexstar Media, said it intended to preempt airings of the program following remarks the host made about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Nexstar said Wednesday that its owned and partner television stations affiliated with ABC will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live for the foreseeable future, beginning with tonight's show. Damn. Guess our free speech is going well, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many people being fired for comments on Charlie Kirk, and all I'll say is like remember that your boss has internet access as well. Okay, just like don't be wilding on the internet. Just remember that. Don't get yourself fired over Charlie Kirk. Okay, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay, just go to the pub and say the things that you want to say there. Oh, hey Andy, how you doing, mate? How you doing? I'm good, mate. I'm good. Feeling better. Feeling alive and well. Yeah, feeling good. Good to see you as well, mate. How you doing? Let me just catch up with this. In his monologue Monday night, Kimmel said that MAGA gang was trying to score. Oh, we can just watch it, can't we? We can see what he said. 16 minutes. Don't know about that. Don't know about that. There a shorter version. Jimmy Kimmel. Okay. Yeah, we'll watch this one. Okay, hang on a minute. I think he said the shooter was right wing or something. We'll give it a listen. We'll see what he said. Because I doubt he said anything that bad. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel Live is not exactly the darkest corner of the internet. Like I'm sure it was pretty mild what he said, but we'll see. We'll see. Remy says, I was reading about a group trying to create a database of people talking against Kirk online. Yeah, they've created it, and JD Vance was hosting Charlie Kirk's show, and he said that if anyone talks shit, you should snitch them. You should rat them out to their employers, which is wild for the vice president to say, but hey ho. And he says, "Good stuff, kid. Tambi's got the flight in the morning. Oh, mate, travel safe, bro. Let me know when you've landed, mate." Um, I mean, this is crazy. Let me get my headphones in and we can give it a watch. Yes, as I say, we're gonna go over some Luigi stuff in a bit, and this is obviously the story of the day. But I'm very curious as to what this guy said. Also, some of the whitewashing of Charlie Kirk these days is crazy. They are trying to make the guy seem like he was Jesus or something. But it is also like, obviously, people shouldn't be afraid of getting shot in the head at a debate. You know, I think that goes without saying. Right, let's get into it. Oh, hang on, technical issues. Wait for me. Sound. Hang on a second. My shit isn't working. Truly, I am the master of having technical difficulties. Right, let's try this. See if this works. Okay, I can't hear it. Let's try this. All fathers are sacred and should not be criticized. That's a motto I got from Charlie. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the Canadian Parliament did like a standing ovation for him, which is mad because he wasn't even part of the American government. He was just a dude. Yeah, it's insane. Like, why is the Canadian Parliament doing this? Honestly, at first I thought it was a hoax for some reason since the attempt on Donny, the scoping the perimeters. I guess I was wrong. Maybe I should take Patel's post. To be honest, I think we still don't really know what was going on. It doesn't seem like a hoax, but a lot of it is bizarre for sure, especially the messages. A lot of it is like super off and weird. I'm not going to say it's a hoax because probably not. Like, it's America. People do get shot quite often there, but there's definitely something weird about it. Lauren says, "Hey all, glad to have you back, feeling better. Late night host stream treat this way remind me very much of V for Vendetta." Yeah, that's very apt. Okay, let's have a go. Let's see if the sound works. Oh, there you go. Hey, it worked. Nice one. Right. Joining us from Los Angeles, the second largest city in our bitterly divided nation, where, like the rest of the country, we're still trying to wrap our heads around the senseless murder of the popular podcaster and conservative activist Charlie Kirk yesterday, whose death has amplified our anger, our differences. And I've seen a lot of extraordinarily vile responses to this from both sides of the political spectrum. Some people are cheering this, which is something I won't ever understand. We had another school shooting yesterday in Colorado, the 100th one of the year. And with all these terrible things happening, you would think that our president would at least make an attempt to bring us together. But he didn't. President Obama did. President Biden did. Presidents Bush and Clinton did. President Trump did not. Instead, he blamed Democrats for their rhetoric. The man who told a crowd of supporters that maybe the Second Amendment people should do something about Hillary Clinton. The man who said he wouldn't mind if someone shot through the fake news media. The man who unleashed a mob on the Capitol and said Liz Cheney should face 9 barrels shooting at her for supporting his opponent blames the radical left for their rhetoric. And then the man who on 9/11, 2001, bragged that his building was now the tallest building in New York, which wasn't even true, by the way, visited the Pentagon for a 9/11 memorial, which, believe it or not, he made a bigly improvement over last year when he showed up at a 9/11 remembrance at a fire station in Lower Manhattan with a 9/11 conspiracy theorist who claims it was an inside job. This year, he brought his wife, which was better for sure. And I have to say, I don't know what's going on, but those two lovebirds, they seem to be closer than ever. I mean, if you see during the ceremony, in a tender moment, Donald reaches over and gives her a little tap. He taps her like he's hoping ketchup would come out. And she didn't really respond. Maybe that's their signal for my diaper is full. I don't know. And then it was off to New York for a Yankees game. Slow DiMaggio made an appearance at Yankee Stadium after an appearance last week at the U.S. Open. It's all part of his getting booed in public tour. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani was supposed to go to the Yankee game with him to sit with the president, but he accidentally showed up at a Yankee candle store. So Uncle Scam, though, he's all over the place right now. You know, last month, Trump, he fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics because he didn't like the job numbers she released. So he replaced her, and now we have a new round of numbers. And guess what? Those numbers are bad, too. We added 900,000 fewer jobs than projected.
I wonder, do you think they fight over who has to give him the news? Like, no, you go, I'm not bringing him these numbers. But say what you like about him. He surrounds himself with the best people. They had hearings this morning to confirm some new Trump nominees.
I mean, so far this sounds pretty mild.
Including our next ambassador to the Bahamas, which is former NFL running back and disgraced former Senate candidate Herschel Walker. You may remember Herschel Walker, when he ran for Senate in Georgia, was plagued by a series of scandals and gaffes, including an admission that he fathered multiple children out of wedlock and allegations that he paid for 2 abortions despite his strong pro-life stance. So today, he sat before the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Honorable Senator Ted Cruz.
He is a man of great faith, discipline, dependability, and resilience. Indeed, when it comes to discipline, one of the things I've learned about Herschel is he doesn't eat breakfast and he doesn't eat lunch.
That's right. He can't figure out how to use a fork. So Herschel is not what you...
I mean, this sounds pretty mild so far, and I would have imagined it was quite mild. But I will say, like, this is like this psyop to make everyone have to be a certain level of sad about this Charlie Kirk thing. And the thing I find most ridiculous about it isn't that people are sad. Of course, like, people are sad, right? They lost a friend or whatever. But I don't know if you've seen what Donald's been up to. This is what he was doing on the day after the shooting, which is also the anniversary of 9/11. Man went to a New York Yankees baseball match and was just absolutely vibing in the crowd. Does this look like a man whose close friend died literally less than 24 hours ago? But yeah, I definitely think it's crazy that Jimmy Kimmel is already getting shows like it's Twitter, mate. It's Twitter. Yeah, it definitely seems crazy that Jimmy Kimmel has been pulled. I mean, I doubt that clip gets much worse, but there aren't even any quotes in the article by the looks of it. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr threatened earlier on Thursday to take action against ABC after Disney's decision was revealed. He said he wanted to thank Nexstar for doing the right thing in a statement on social media. Local broadcasters have an obligation to serve the public interest. Yeah, I doubt this is obviously backed off of anything big, but rather just to avoid angering the king, because the lawsuits have been pretty liberal as of late. Paramount got sued by Trump. The New York Times got sued for 15 billion just yesterday, I believe. And like, there's no one who's sued more media organizations than him. So I think they're just trying to get ahead of it and basically cancel anything that might end up being problematic for them in a couple of months if the president decides to sue them. But I mean, yeah, let's be real. Anything that is aired on Jimmy Kimmel is not going to be anywhere near as bad as what you see on Twitter. And I'm not even sure how many people still watch it. But so far, it at least looks like the clip was pretty reasonable.
Might call a scholar. Let's just say if it wasn't for football, there's a chance Herschel might not have gotten into college.
At one time, science said man came from apes. Did it not? Well, this was interesting, though. If that is true, why are there still apes? Think about it.
I haven't been able to stop it.
This guy trying to make an evolution argument. If humans evolved from apes, why are there still apes? Fucking hell, man. This guy definitely skipped his 8th grade biology class. Does Trump suing them actually do anything? It costs them a load of money in legal fees and things like that, which I think is the main problem. It's just meant to be like a flex of power. And they also know that the courts are probably not going to be as fair depending on where the case gets tried. So yeah, the big thing about suing them is just to literally just cause them problems for problems' sake. He just wants problems, bro. I don't think it ever really does anything because it never seems to get to trial. But it gives them an opportunity to settle as well, so they can basically bribe them, and that's probably the most effective part of all the lawsuits against media companies, is that they always choose to settle. So he basically just gets a free bribe for threatening to sue. How much did Paramount settle the lawsuit for? Paramount from lawsuit. There we go. So for example, Paramount got sued and they settled for $16 million. So it's basically just a free bribe. He gives them an opportunity to bribe him. And this was just one lawsuit, man. There were dozens. He sued a newspaper in Iowa, the Des Moines Register, because they published the results of a poll that had him losing in Iowa. And apparently that was that was defamation to publish the results of an unfavorable poll. But yeah, no, this is the real thing that happens. It's a threat and it's an easy bribe. There's never really a case. Really hot take, but my first thought after finding out about Kirk was that it's a professional job, and I still think it. He wanted the Epstein files released, and I think that's enough reason. Kirk, Smile, Kirk was not that bothered by the Epstein files. He talked about it for. I was following this in real time actually when he was talking about it, but he talked about it for one day, and then the next day he said he was tired of the Epstein files and he would talk about something else until he got bullied into talking about it some more. I think it's very. I don't know. I think people are exaggerating how anti-Trump Charlie Kirk was, because he was not. He was like one of the most loyal defenders of the administration, and he literally gave his life for this cause. That cause, that's it. Hang on. Well, yeah, Smile. I don't mean anti-Trump as an anti-Trump, but like anti-Trump as in he actually opposed Trump on any issues, which he didn't. I don't think he opposed him on Epstein. He didn't really oppose him on Israel or anything. He sometimes said things that weren't perfectly aligned, but he had that flexibility because he wasn't actually part of the government. I just think there are lots of clips of him saying things about like Israel or Epstein that have been circulating, and it's like, well, he wasn't really that bothered by it. But definitely the hit does look pretty. It did look professional. It looked legit. Dog Sweat says, "Man, if these lawsuits keep up, they might just create a media landscape where no one talks or covers Trump, except Fox News, which is all he really needs." But it's too juicy. Everyone has to keep covering it. I think it's just it is all just way too juicy. Da, 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 America's control. What's really sad is the involvement of Five Eyes in all the shenanigans. Was Five Eyes involved in the Charlie Kirk stuff? Did they share data? I didn't hear about that. Turning them into a martyr. It doesn't matter. Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter what the death was about. Everyone, that's the thing about a corpse, right? A corpse, corpses can't disagree, so you can make them say whatever you want. I know that Stephen Miller was like claiming that it's like I'll find it in a second. The last letter that Charlie Kirk ever sent him was some shit about immigrants or something, or the radical left. Nico, wait, can I get a quick clarification on what Five Eyes is? Yeah, sure. Five Eyes is international cooperation of the UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, I think. And it is like a data sharing agreement. So all of the spy agencies for all of those countries agree to share data with each other to solve like international cases. So yeah, I don't know if they were involved in the Charlie Kirk stuff at all, like in terms of like it was an international element to it, but that's what Five Eyes is. And it's quite controversial because it places requirements on like Canada and Australia and stuff to share their data with the CIA. And the CIA is not that reliable, especially these days. How do you feel about it? How you doing, Anthony? You good? It's like a national FBI for each of these nations. Yeah, it's just a spy agency. It's like a data sharing agreement between all of the different spy agencies. My cat's kind of invaded the table. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can't, but she's parked up. But yeah, where were we? AFM Soul Basement Dweller. That's an optimistic name, isn't it? Lost Soul says it's crazy how "Hey fascist" quote in many articles skip the arrows. Reddit in Latvian language has many relevant gaps. Oh, did it was "Hey fascist" in quotes on the bullets? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I mean, yeah, the funniest thing was before we get into the Luigi stuff, the funniest part of all of this is the absolute desperation to pin it on a transgender person somehow. So at first they said that the bullets had transgender ideology on them, and it turned out, as Ice has nicely put it there, that it was a default printing from the factory that said like, TRN, and that was taken to mean some kind of pro-trans message when that's how the bullets came from the factory. And then obviously when that didn't work, they then moved on to the roommate. So it turned out the guy had a roommate who is, by the way, cooperating with authorities. But these were the headlines that I saw. Let's see. They were all like worded really weirdly, so that if you read it at a glance, you think that the transgender person was somehow involved. But it's like a gas transgender roommate may lead to motive. And the Wall Street Journal was like this as well. They were so desperate for a transgender person to be involved at some point that the one transgender person in this story, who was fully cooperating, by the way, with authorities, ended up being seen as like the potential motive. It's insanity, genuine insanity. And they were posting things that were just unverified and untrue, like the Wall Street Journal was, especially, just to get some kind of narrative and some kind of story ahead. But yeah, I think everyone wants the shooter to not be one of them. Yeah, ludicrous. Did you see that the oversight committee is calling on the CEOs? Calling on the CEOs of Discord, Steam, Twitch, and Reddit to testify on radicalization of online forum users. Damn, that's I didn't see that. I know that Discord's been catching some heat as of late because they also tried to claim that the shooting was planned on Discord, but it turned out that it wasn't at all planned on Discord either. Basically, Kash Patel has been having a bit of a nightmare, and he's had to face Congress today. And some of the clips are great, so we're gonna watch some of them as well. Hi Meg, how you doing? How you doing? Nice to have you back. Been off for a little while, but we're back, and it's nice that you haven't abandoned the chat. Nice to see you. How are things doing? Femsal says, I think we see why the conservatives are so against improving education. If you have an 8th grade reading level and you read a thing, you believe your feelings and lack the ability to read deep. I mean, Trump said it best, right? He said, what was that quote? I love the uneducated. Okay, give me a sec. Hey, Bob. She has a really cute habit now of like, I put my forehead next to her. She like tries to groom my hair. It's very, very wholesome. Hey, buddy. There we go. Right back. Oh. Real B says, "Hey, Faz, you're one of the only commentators that leave me feeling better. Appreciate it. Oh, thank you, thank you." I try to, I try to leave people feeling better, even if the stuff we cover is a little depressing at times. she's a cutie. She's an absolute angel. I think she's been going through teenage growing pains, but she's been nice. She appreciates the rejig of things. I think it's given her like new parkour routes throughout the apartment now. But yes, let's get cracking. Let's get into it. We will not get into Luigi just yet because I wanted to see some of the. As I say, there were some hilarious clips of Kash Patel. We'll react to that first, and then we'll get into the actual main business of the day. Hang on. That's his reason, Sly Cooper, but in cat form. That's very wholesome. He needs to resign after this. Yeah. I'll tell you what, right? We'll watch one Kash Patel clip, and then we'll actually see the stuff about the text messages, because the text messages that were released, they read like such absolute Fed posting. I just really struggle to believe that they are the text messages of like a 22-year-old internet addict. He basically confesses in detail in these text messages of like everything he did and like where he planted the weapon. The way they read, these are the shooter's alleged text messages. The way they read is like, when you're reading a book or watching a movie and you can tell that they haven't really thought about how they're going to wrap it up. And so they just have a character say everything that they need to say to advance the plot forward. And and then you can call it a day. That's how it feels. Okay. There were so many Kash Patel clips from today. We'll pick this one to start with, and then we'll learn more about the text messages. But yes, Kash Patel has been so bad throughout this investigation. He ended up flying into Utah, despite the fact that the police didn't want him to fly in, because if the FBI director flies into the middle of a major investigation, they have to double, triple the security across the city in order to protect him, because he's the FBI director. They have to clear like airspace, they have to clear roads and everything. And with any investigation, it's normally like the first 24 to 48 hours that are the most important. But obviously, Kash Patel understands that his career is not based on how good of a job he does. It's based on how good the headlines sound. So he decided to fly out and just kind of hang around for a few days, including just standing at the back of police conferences and not even saying anything. And then ultimately, when they ended up releasing the photos and the shooter was like, I guess, handed in by his parents after confessing, he started trying to take credit for it as if it was like a genius strategic play. But yeah, since then he's been back in DC today, and he's been facing Congress in front of there's been like a House Judiciary meeting, and he was getting absolutely cooked. He's getting cooked about the Epstein file. He's getting cooked about the shooting. He really just wanted to feel like he was doing something. But yeah, his hearing today, I caught like a little bit of it in the background, but he was getting cooked about Epstein, and it was painful to listen to. I didn't see the specific one, so we can watch it together. But Brewer really just wanted to feel like he was doing something. Also, whenever you look at a picture of no, not Kyle, we can watch him after. A picture of Kash Patel. He always looks like he just like trusted a fart and it's gone wrong. That is what he looks like 100% of the time. This is the look of a man who just shouted. Or when you thought it was going to be a silent one and it just reverberates like a blue whale. In every picture, he always looks like this. Oh, what a guy. What a guy. What a guy. Good old Kash, yeah. Onion was like, Kash Patel calling the parents to ask if they can solve more cases for them. But yes, let's give this a watch.
Maryland's recognized.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, before you joined the FBI, you railed against it for covering up Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Let me refresh your memory with this clip.
Has Epstein's list, they're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale? Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
So you finished that December 2023 interview with a challenge to the FBI and harsh words for Republicans in Congress for not getting the Epstein files out to the public. You can see this clip.
Boy pants, and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are, you said. You emphasized that the president and FBI director each had complete authority to release Epstein's client list. You said Epstein's black book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. Look at this clip.
This is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
black book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean,
Oh,
there's...
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
All right, so you were sworn in as direct.
Oh, I love how none of this matters as well. None of this matters. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that he said this in 4K, Ultra HD, 16-bit sound. It just doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. Oh.
More than 200 days ago, now the black book is under your direct control. So why haven't you released the names of Epstein's co-conspirators in the rape and sex trafficking of young women and girls?
The Rolodex, which is what everybody colloquially refers to as the Black Book, has been released.
Oh, no, you're talking about what the journalist got 5 years ago? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what you were talking about there,
That's
the black
exactly
book
what I
under
was
the direct control of the FBI director.
We have released more material than anyone else before. The Biden administration, Obama administration had the exact opportunities to release this material, and they never did. And if you are selling the men and women of the FBI,
why
we're
have
not
you
going after
changed your
child predators.
position?
Hang on, you said we're not going after child predators. 1,500 child predators arrested this year, 35% increase.
I'll reclaim my time.
4,700 child victims
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to
found.
reclaim my time if you could instruct the witness. Why have you changed your position? There you were saying it's under the direct control of the FBI director and all of it should be released. Why have you changed your
Everything
position?
that has been lawfully permitted to be released has been released. And as I told you,
Really?
the investigation was limited. And let me make something crystal clear. I never said Jeffrey Epstein didn't traffic other people, other women, and they're not other victims. This is the investigation we were given from 2006, 7, and 8, and the search warrants from 2006, 7, and 8. That's what we're working with.
Well, wait, have you released all of the stuff that the FBI has seized from Epstein's house? The computers, the emails, the file cabinets, the documents? What about the financial records? Have you released all of that?
Everything the court has allowed us to
Which
release.
court are you talking about?
3 separate federal courts have come in and said.
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any
We're talking
idea
about the
how the
evidence.
law works?
Wait.
Do you want me to break the law in a federal judge's order?
No,
to
I want you to
satisfy
follow your own
curiosity?
word, Director Patel. You said up there it was under the direct control of the FBI director. He had the black
And
book.
everything I have direct control over, we have gone to court. You haven't.
Complete
We
your
went
sentence.
to court.
Everything you have direct control over, you
We
said.
have gone to court, and everything we have direct
Director
control
Patel,
over.
complete your
and
sentence.
can
You said everything-
lawfully
I'd like to
release.
the
We are
gentleman-
releasing.
He'd like to complete his answer.
You began the sentence, everything you have direct control over, and then you stopped that sentence. You've released everything that you have direct control over?
And I have direct control over and can lawfully release. If you're not familiar with the court orders, that's not my fault.
Oh, I'm
Go
perfectly,
look at them.
I'm perfectly
to
familiar
court.
with them. But how did we prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell?
She was prosecuted with the investigatory material that was collected from 2001 and 2005. Because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants, we were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years, and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his pedophile network.
I like that Biden got a name drop. I always feel like a little warmth in my heart anytime Biden gets a name dropped. The man's peacefully trying to die of cancer, and they won't even let him die in peace for it.
If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this
stop
great
that.
search.
I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials
Has
under your
anyone
direct
released
control.
more information on Epstein than I have? Has anyone?
Much more.
Did Comey? Did Ray?
Much
Did
more.
they?
Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people in Congress have been demanding it. But it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you, there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed court to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're talking
That is
about.
not.
It is a tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen everything?
It's all misdirection.
How do you know
Time
that?
of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman from California.
Yeah, it was basically like 3 hours of that. He also claimed that he's never spoken to Donald Trump about Jeffrey Epstein, which I think is a very implausible claim. But he was just going on like that for hours. I genuinely don't know like how good they are, how they're this good at lying. I don't know how you can dedicate like a decade of your professional career to yapping about this Epstein dude, and then you finally have the one chance to actually do the thing you say. Bro, it's so clear as well what he said. Like and nobody cares. Nobody cares that he said that like the FBI could 100% release this. Oh yes, sad. But yeah, let's move on to the Tyler Robinson letter. So I thought I have the text. But I thought we could watch Kyle cover it because he, I believe, covered the messages today. So we'll give this a little watch, learn a bit about the messages, and then we'll get into the Luigi stuff. Prepared a little mini presentation, and we can learn about that. Nico says, because he realized that following through would affect him and those he cares for, and he wasn't ready for that. Think of the people of power that would be affected. The issue is, right, like I understand why he's not releasing it. I understand that he doesn't want to screw his own job, right? He understands that. But I just don't know how he got this far before that, unless this was his plan all along, because anyone who's taken even like a day to learn about Epstein ends up realizing that him and Donald Trump were best friends, right, for a decade, and that they were literally always together. So maybe he just cognitive disonanced his way out of it and just thought, hey ho, I don't know, like, I'm just not going to believe that Donald Trump is in the files. But or maybe he was just grifting all along, and this was just his way to get in the right circles. That's probably the more plausible solution. Oh, I'm quiet. Oh, hang on. Am I louder now? How is the audio sounding? And also, how are you doing, Chandler? Okay. This should be a bit better in terms of audio loudness. Okay. Yeah, I think this should be better. Yeah. Yeah, how you doing, Chandler? How's life? Hope everything's going well. AOS Serious is cray right now. It is extremely cray right now. It is extremely cray. Mr. Cynic says he's a grifter that never expected to rise as high as he did. That is the impression I get, that he had no idea that he'd be... Oh, I'm a bit too loud now. Bear with me. Bear with. Okay. This should be better. Okay. This should be better. Shouldn't be stupid loud. Volume's good. I'm getting mixed messages, guys. I'm getting mixed messages. OBS is telling me it's good. It's in the yellow. But yeah, as you were saying, that's the impression I get with Kash Patel, is that he didn't expect to do this, to do this well. You've always been too quiet every stream, Mr. Cynic. You're telling me now. You're telling me now. You've been here all the time. But yeah, the guy definitely didn't expect to get this far, and is now just trying to wing it, and is doing a terrible, terrible job at it. Man, what is the world come to? This can be 4K HD evidence of you committing a crime, or even just like setting an intention out in the world, and nobody cares. Like, nobody cares that he said this. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you said. It doesn't matter what you haven't said. You can just... There are no consequences for lying now. Okay, hang on. I'm probably gonna have to dip this down a bit, and then... Okay, bear with me while I fix the audio again. Let's see. No, that's still too quiet. That's still... How does that... Doot. Sorry, I'm just testing that it sounds okay on my end as well. Okay, this should be okay. This should work. Okay, we're back. We're back. Audio's fixed, I think. Unless you think it's too quiet still. Smile says, I never dared to say anything either, just max my own volume. No, please tell me if there's technical issues. I would like to know, because otherwise the technical issues never get fixed if nobody says anything, or if I never figure it out myself. Kash Patel Deadass looks like someone who just got last minute hired as a store manager for McDonald's and trying to figure out shit on the fly. I mean, I don't know how you can be this bad at your job, but maybe this is why you shouldn't have podcasters running the FBI. If anyone is interested in the Portland ICE protests, you'll see lots of videos of me by looking them up. I'm usually wearing blue. You'll see me. Oh, nice. Are the protests still going strong in Portland? I would imagine. I would have thought they would have maybe slowed down, but props if they're still going well. Yeah, man. I mean, Chandler. Yeah, you're on the front lines, mate. You're on the front lines. It's good to see that people are still turning out. 100 days consecutive. Wow. ICE has been in big trouble with Korea, actually. I was going to cover that, but we can cover it at the end. But yeah, ICE is fucked up. No surprise. And they have taken a stiff approach to a Korean factory who are trying to actually do the things that they want America to do, but we'll go into that in a bit. For now, I just wanted us to learn more about these very weird text messages from our dearest friend Kyle. I recall you slandered his bleach blonde hair last time, Smile, and we're not going to tolerate more Kyle slander, okay? But yeah. All
right, guys, so I have some updates for you here in the Charlie Kirk case, and suffice to say, it is getting weird. I mean, it was already weird, but it's getting weirder. I think it's fair to say it's getting weirder. And that's not just me saying it. If you look on social media and see the reaction from across the political spectrum, people are going, really? Really? Okay, so let's go through it. The FBI, Kash Patel, they decided to release the correspondence, I guess via text message, between Tyler Robinson and his alleged lover. Now they say trans lover, but it's still not set in stone that that's actually the case. We only heard that from the MAGA mom. So, I've seen speculation that they are trans, they aren't trans, they're a furry or something like that, but that's neither here nor there. But let me walk you through this. So they release it, and here's what they say. Ready?
Sorry, press the wrong button.
After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" So, allegedly, you had Robinson leaving a note under the keyboard or something, and on that note, he basically says, like, "It was me. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I wasn't going to pass up that opportunity." And so, after reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson says, "I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Yet shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." The roommate says, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson says, "I am. I'm sorry."
Bear in mind, this is supposed to be the text thread of like a 22-year-old chronically online Redditor, like 4chan type user. Someone who references 10-year-old furry memes, okay? Keep that in context.
Roommate says, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson says, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate says, "Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can't get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson says, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got..."
Sorry. No 22-year-old says the phrase circle back. The phrase circle back is exclusively used by like 30 to 40-year-old middle managers at corporations. I have never heard any normal person use the phrase circle back outside of a fucking business meeting or a work meeting. I also like how he explains everything in detail in like a text. This guy goes to this insane level of planning, by the way, to get away with this. And it's like, yeah, I can yap on my text. Mention every single detail, including the 2 guys who got arrested that weren't him. This is some serious Wattpad typing, right? Some like AO2 type stuff.
Got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see "notices bulge, ooh woo" on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. It's kind of incredible that somebody who planned out a crime and basically got away with it. The only reason that this person was turned in is because their dad turned them in. If the dad didn't turn them in, they were basically gonzo. It was basically over, right? But that person who did this crime, got away with it, is in a text chain now going, "Call me the crimes man. I committed crimes. Here's exactly how I did it. Here's where I left the evidence. I think I got away with it. But sure, it was me. I did the crimey McCrimington. That's why they call me the crimes guy. Here's a detailed breakdown of how it went down and how I hid the evidence and what's going on moving forward." And other people have pointed out, too, the "my old man" thing. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. My old man? Can we be serious here? That's not Gen Z lingo. Gen Z doesn't talk like that. he somehow knew everything, all the updates on the ground. Like, you knew that there was an old guy that was taken into custody. You knew about the guy with the pellet gun who was taken into custody. So as you're running for your life, you're also, somehow on social media checking all the updates? But I thought he didn't even have social media. We were told he didn't even have social media. All right, so what's he getting, like CNN alerts about the updates? As he's running for his life, he's checking every wrinkle in the case that comes in. A lot of this smells fishy. So, and that's, like I said, that's across the political spectrum you're getting this reaction. So first, let me give you this tweet. I try not to be...
I mean, let's be real, right? These do not read like the chats of a 2 to 20-year-olds, right? Let's be honest. Just everything about it reads so off, especially because they have all of his Discord messages and he's like typing in short form and like using slang. But here he's like laying out every single detail, giving a full update of the live news. He gives like a motive, a weapon, and also proof that he was there at the time. But yeah, we'll keep cracking on. But it is ludicrous. We will keep cracking on. And I think nobody is convinced by this. The outfit's changing. Yeah, the outfit's changing as well. We asked AI to generate assassination conventions every state. Hello, Anya. Welcome. How you doing? It's a three fingers meme. Yeah. That's the thing, right? ChatGPT could easily generate something better than this.
Since liberal pilled. He says, /grandpa being a note confirms every wrinkle in the case that comes to the political spectrum, you're getting this reaction. So first, let me give you this tweet. I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I have a really hard time believing in a short text exchange. The alleged shooter makes his confession, confirms location of the weapon, confirms the type of weapon, confirms it was wrapped in a towel, confirms his motive, exonerates the decoy, George Zinn, admits to the bullet engravings, confirms the wardrobe change, confirms how long he's been planning it, discloses the existence and location of a now destroyed pre-written confession note, randomly tells his boyfriend that his dad is diehard MAGA, as if he wouldn't already know that, given the nature of their relationship, and is worried about his dad/grandpa being upset if he doesn't come home with the rifle, not the fact that he just used it to commit a murder. Not to mention a 22-year-old terminally online Zoomer using phrases like squad car, drop point, swept the area, my vehicle, till I died of old age, my old man. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. So yeah, I forgot. I think there's a slightly longer, like, they released a little longer than what I just read for you, and in that, they had the thing about, like, he talks about how his dad is MAGA. Well, this person would know that. This person would already know that. Randomly tells his boyfriend that his dad is MAGA as if he wouldn't already know that. Okay. So that's one that I found interesting. Here's another one. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. This guy is like totally resistance liberal pilled. He says, I don't believe the text messages were written by Tyler Robinson for a second. I didn't know him personally, but I know that no 22-year-old writes text messages like this. This feels like that Steve Buscemi skateboard meme. How do you do, fellow kids? Yeah, that's another thing. I forgot to bring that point up, but when you look at a lot of these texts, he's sending fucking essays, bro. He's sending essays. First of all, that's rare to begin with. But
there's not a single skibbity. We can throw out the whole case. Didn't even reference 6-7. 6-7 once.
Second of all, especially if the person is younger, they're not sending fucking essays via text messages. And the other thing is, this is probably the biggest point in my mind. Guys, we're talking about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. That's who we're talking about is running the FBI. I don't trust those motherfuckers. I don't trust them at all. We know all they care about is getting the fucking brownie points and the adoration from the MAGA blob on social media. And anything they can do to get that, they will do it. And so here they're trying to, hey, we got the guy, wrap it up. Oh, look at this. These text messages he sent. So I told you it's across the political spectrum. So you got people like Brooklyn Dad Defiant. He's a hardcore resistance liberal. And then you got Sloppy Steve. What's Sloppy Steve saying?
And as bad as it's presented in Utah, I'm not buying all of it. I'm particularly not buying those text messages. It just seems too stilted, too much like a script, actually a bad script.
And I have to say, I'm even seeing non-political people say the same shit on social media. I'm seeing non-political people go, really? Really? So look at this. This person ran the alleged text messages through Grok and ChatGPT and asked the AI, hey, what's the likelihood this is real? And they both find the text messages between Tyler and his partner most likely fabricated. Now, look, I'm not out here speaking in absolutes. I'm not saying for sure that is the case or isn't the case. I'm just saying this is what they released, and it's making a lot of people go, huh, that's weird. So, look, the other part that you guys know I'm struggling to get over, and I'm curious if you guys are feeling the same thing, but I am struggling to wrap my mind around two decoys, two diversions. I really am. The fact that there was an old guy screaming, I did it, shoot me, and so he gave the person time to get away. The fact that that happened, the fact that there was a guy with a pellet gun that looked like a real gun, and he also took up time of the officials, law enforcement officials, that's sketchy to me. It's sketchy to me. The story doesn't add up with him changing twice and also disassembling and reassembling the weapon multiple times. That also doesn't add up. According to the official story, he shot the rifle, disassembled it, put it in his backpack, jumped off the roof, ran into the woods, then reassembled it and left it assembled. That just doesn't make sense to me. So, this is what they dropped. This is what they say is the big update. But now I got some other updates for you from a different angle. So Ken Klippenstein says the following: exclusive leaked messages from Charlie Kirk assassin. So he was.
If you don't know who Ken Klippenstein is, he's a really good investigative journalist. He actually was the first guy to release Luigi's manifesto as well, when all of the news organizations wouldn't publish it. But Ken Klippenstein is pretty on top of these things. But we'll practice a few chat messages before we get into the next stage. Mr. Cynic says, I'm generally fearing a rise of Nazi Germany situation. These people believe they could get away with anything, and at this point, I think they could. Sorry. Sound like RFK. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, that's the thing, right? They used to try and, do actual cover-ups. But I think now they've realized that, they just need to cover it up until it's no longer the top story in the news. And we're getting stuff like this, which just sounds so incredibly sus. But yeah, it's a little worrying. It's a little worrying. He mentioned more memes on the bullets than in his text. I mean, that's the thing, right? Those text messages sound so fake, right? They just sound like someone trying to type like a real person. And the guy probably did it, but I don't know if you can believe those text messages either.
He was able to talk to people who were part of the Discord group that Tyler Robinson was a part of. And so here's what he says, quote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday." Thus, Tyler Robinson messaged his friends on Discord, seemingly apologizing for murdering Charlie Kirk. "I'm sorry for all of this. I obtained this in other Discord chats I've decided to publish. The legacy news media, as usual, refuses, along with new information I've learned about Robinson from the people who knew him best." Oh, I should also point out, by the way, that the text messages that were released by the FBI, you have a lot of legal experts who are looking at them going, even if this shit is real, you're fucking your own case by releasing it now. That's what a lot of experts are saying. All right, so this is a screenshot. This is from Ken Klippenstein's reporting. "Charlie Kirk got shot, dead. I just saw the video. Holy shit. Rest in peace, I guess. Bro didn't deserve to go out like that." So that's the other people on the Discord, board saying those things to each other, right? Zealous Monkey chimes in. This is supposed to be Tyler. "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been so amazing. Thank you thank you all for everything." Trump and company portray the alleged Utah shooter as left wing, and liberals portray him as right wing. The federal conclusion will inevitably be that he was a so-called nihilist violent extremist, or NVE. Meanwhile, the crackdown has already begun. As I reported yesterday, the country is practically ready to go to war. Quote, "It's been so terrible, and seeing it from an inside perspective is so frustrating," a friend of Robinson since middle school told me. The childhood friend, who asked not to be named for fear of threats, provided me with the above non-public photo of Robinson on a camping trip, a favorite activity of his, to corroborate their relationship. Quote, "I think the main thing that's caused so much confusion is that he was always generally apolitical for the most part," the friend told me. "That's the big thing. He just never really talked politics, which is why it's so frustrating." The picture that emerges bears little resemblance to the media version. Robinson, I am told, though quiet, was a well-liked person with a supportive family. The friend group who he interacted with on Discord, far from some kind of militia, camp, or Antifa bunker, is it's been portrayed as represented a range of different political views, but mostly talked video games. Yesterday, FBI Director Kash Patel said in an interview that Robinson subscribed to left-wing ideology, citing his family's remarks to investigators. But those close to Robinson say there was a lot his family didn't know about him. Quote, their ideas are based on someone they didn't fully understand, the childhood friend told me. Though the family was generally supportive of Robinson, a claim corroborated by his mother's Facebook account brimming with praise for Tyler, they didn't seem to know about his relationship with a trans person named Lance, the friend said.
Yeah, that's one thing I find a bit weird, is that a lot of the claims on who the shooter was as a person and his political views have come from like his parents and his uncles and stuff. But I kind of think that if your kid ends up doing a school shooting, then odds are you don't have that good of a grasp on the overall mental position that that person was in. So I think you got to take things the family says with a grain of salt, especially because the parents are also both quite hardcore MAGA. They have like so many pictures with like huge guns, like proper fatties.
When I asked if his family would have been accepting, the friend replied, I don't think even Tyler knew the answer to that question, which is why he kept it so low-key between themselves. Tyler's bisexuality, the friend said, was coupled with openness on LGBT issues, but his wasn't some cookie-cutter lefty position on every or even most issues, his friends say. Obviously, he's okay with gay and trans people having a right to exist, but also believes in the Second Amendment, that friend said, referring to the right to bear arms. The friend described Robinson as fairly typical of a young man his age from Utah, someone who loved the outdoors, was a gamer, and into guns. Quote, to all of us, he just seemed like a simple guy who liked playing games like Sea of Thieves, Deep Rock Galactic, and Helldivers 2, loved to fish, and loved to camp, the friend said. It really didn't seem like that's all he was about.
Benjamin, we are going over some of the text messages that have been leaked from the Charlie Kirk shooter, and I will say at a quick glance, like his Discord messages sound pretty different to his texts. Smile says, my narcissistic ex's parents would come up with every excuse under the sun for their son. So yeah, sure, very credible. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the parents are probably the least credible source of information at this point. If you find out that your kid just did a school shooting, you can't be trusted to be processing that in a way where you can give useful information, especially around the political views. Nico says, waiting for it to not be top story in the news doesn't work either. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. But I think that the thing about this story is that everyone can pick their conclusion about Tyler and why he did the shooting. And it doesn't have to actually have any evidence, because nobody needs proof for anything now. You just say things, man. That's how it works.
And then they have some more messages here, Helldivers 2 stuff. The phrase inscribed on one of the bullet casings from the shooting, hey fascist catch, though widely reported to mean he was a man of the left, is in fact a reference to the Helldivers 2 game. 3 arrows initially believed by federal agents to be a reference to Antifa are also a reference to Helldivers. Private Discord messages shared with me by a friend of Robinson's confirm that Robinson wasn't some political martyr. A search for posts of Robinson's containing keywords like Biden and Trump turned up just 1 hit each. The Trump post was a passing reference to the 2019 impeachment inquiry. The Biden one came on the day of the 2020 election, where he provided an update to another friend asking about the status of the vote count. And so then here are those messages. An impeachment inquiry has been placed against Donald Trump. He could get booted out if they find he committed the shit he's accused of. And then the Biden one is, who's winning the election? Who is winning the election? You would know. Biden is in the lead, electoral votes-wise, but there are still some swing states that haven't finished voting, as well as most of the West Coast raw votes. Donald is in the lead by a little over 1 million votes. And then that goes on a little bit. The childhood friend is a member of multiple Discord chats with Robinson. He described the group as trying to grapple with Robinson's motive just like everyone else. So that's the other thing, is like all the people that are in these group chats, they're like mostly apolitical, and they weren't in any way, shape, or form involved in like the planning of this or whatever. And at the
Welcome back, Rejecting Unions. The messages are from a Discord. So the journalist Ken Klippenstein, he's like really good investigative journalist. He's always like super quick with this stuff. Has managed to get in contact with a friend of Tyler Robinson, the shooter, and the friend corroborated it with photos and things like that, and got his hand on a bunch of Discord messages. So these ones are likely a lot more legit than the stuff the FBI released, because this is someone that approached an independent investigative journalist to give them the info. And this guy also was the first person to publicly release Luigi Mangione's manifesto before any of the other mainstream outlets. And I think he did get banned on Twitter for that. But yeah, these are, I would say, are more likely to be real just because of the context and the fact that these aren't on the front page of the news or anything.
Moment, it looks like Kash Patel and the FBI are basically trying to ruin the lives of all these people who knew him and who were in these chat boards with him. This was not some like under.
It's interesting because Discord has all of this data. It's in their privacy policy that they give this data to law enforcement when this kind of thing happens. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Discord obviously hands over all the info, and the FBI has this info as well, presumably, given that Tyler's roommates have all cooperated with law enforcement. So they decided to not release all of these Discord messages that they have, but they released the text thread that is just so so unbelievably like Fed posting, right? Lostel, I don't think Discord protects your info from, it's not end-to-end encrypted or anything like that. I'm fairly sure Discord just hands it over. If the law, I mean, I reject convenience is pretty deep on privacy policies, so I would trust his statement. But that was what I was under the impression anyways, that if anything happens legally and your data is requested, your Discord data is requested by law enforcement, they'll just hand it over.
Belly of the internet type shit. These are regular people, largely apolitical, just chatting about like video games or whatever. And so now they're terrified. But so according to the friends, they're like, look, man, he's largely apolitical, seemed like a normal dude, and he ended up doing this. That's what they say. Okay. Now I got another update for you. So as we discussed last time, you had it's alleged that Charlie Kirk was basically going to turn on Israel, or he slowly but surely was turning on Israel. For example, he questioned whether or not October 7th was allowed to proceed by the Israeli government, basically saying like almost like an inside job to an extent where they let it happen and there's like a stand down order. He talked about that. He's agreed that Epstein was Mossad. But at the same time, most of his rhetoric was very, very pro-Israel for a very long time. But according to a bunch of reports now, you have people who were saying that leading up to his killing, Netanyahu had invited him to come to Israel. He rejected it. Netanyahu had offered to give like over $100 million to TPUSA. That's his group, his youth conservative group. And he rejected it. He didn't want that money because he probably knew the strings attached to that are, you got to cheerlead our fucking genocide and pretend like Israel has done no wrong. Remember, Charlie had also invited like Dave Smith to one of his TPUSA events, who's, very critical of Israel. He's had Tucker Carlson and whatnot. And so there were right-wing Zionists who were pretty pissed off that the Republican who leads the largest youth Republican group in the country was at the very least flirting with the anti-Israel position, which, by the way, if you're representing young Republicans, you kind of have to do that, if not just be anti-Israel, because the polls show among Republicans, young Republicans are the most anti-Israel. So there was an article in the Gray Zone that laid all this stuff out, and now we have another one. Take a look at this. Billionaire Bill Ackman convened stormy Israel intervention with Charlie Kirk, sources say. A month before Charlie Kirk's killing, billionaire pro-Israel money man Bill Ackman arranged an intervention in the Hamptons, during which sources say he and others hammered Kirk for the conservative leader's growing criticism of Israeli influence in Washington. Kirk came away fretting about Israeli blackmail, sources say, as he contemplated a Catholic conversion. So he was Protestant, and, the Protestants, the evangelical Christians, they're all hardcore Zionists. Like, think of like Mike Huckabee, for example. I mean, that guy is deep in that world of let Israel do whatever they want. It's the Holy Land. They want the rapture to happen. They want God to come back. And so Charlie was thinking, well, maybe I'll become a Catholic. And the Catholics, there's some more room in Catholicism to criticize Israel than there is in being a Protestant. All right, let's continue. On September 11th, one day after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, billionaire pro-Israel money man Bill Ackman took to Twitter to trumpet his relationship with the late conservative operative. Quote, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. The Gray Zone has spoken to 5 people with intimate knowledge of Kirk's meeting. 5. According to one source, Kirk was left upset after the gathering turned into an intervention where he was hammered for his increasingly skeptical views on the U.S. special relationship with Israel and for platforming prominent conservative critics of Israel at TPUSA events. Since publishing this report, the Gray Zone has learned from one attendee of the Hamptons event that Ackman convened the influencers under the auspices of a discussion about Zohran Mamdani and the supposed threat he posed to the West if elected mayor of New York. But the
threat to the West, bro. Who are these guys?
meeting went off the rails when Ackman personally confronted Kirk about his views on Israel. The public face of UK Lawyers for Israel, Natasha Hausdorff, joined in the argument and began screaming at Kirk, according to the attendee. When his hosts presented him with a detailed list of every offense he supposedly committed against Israel, Kirk was horrified, said one person. Ackman also allegedly demanded Kirk rescind his invitation for Tucker Carlson speaking at his upcoming America Fest 2025 in December. The whole thing was a disaster, said an attendee. The Gray Zone reported on September 12th, citing a longtime associate of Kirk, that Netanyahu had offered to organize a massive infusion of pro-Israel money into TPUSA, and that Kirk refused. Another longtime friend of Kirk has told the Gray Zone that the conservative activist also rejected an offer Netanyahu delivered 2 weeks before his death to meet with him in Jerusalem. Kirk, according to one person with inside knowledge of the meeting with Ackman, said he left feeling as though he'd been subjected to blackmail. In a series of text messages with the Gray Zone, Ackman described these accounts of his meeting with Kirk as totally false. He pledged to release a public statement providing his own account of the event, but refused the Gray Zone's request for clarification or further details. He would not accept phone calls from this reporter. Jesus Christ. I think I can easily put this to bed, Ackman promised. I have receipts, as they say. He did not abide when asked to provide the so-called receipts. In an apparent bid to reinforce the pro-Israel tone at the Hamptons meeting, Ackman hosted a coterie of pro-Israel operatives and conservative influencers at the off-the-record engagement. One was Instagram influencer Xavier Durousseau of PragerU. Reached by phone by the Gray Zone, Durousseau sounded flustered when asked about his presence at the meeting. He repeatedly demanded to know how the reporter obtained his number and eventually hung up, refused to answer questions about the event. Several Instagram posts by Durousseau show him and his friend, conservative influencer Emily Wilson, in the Hamptons on August 8th outside Topping Rose House, a posh hotel and restaurant in Bridgehampton, New York. So these are like the D-list conservative celebrities. That's who these people are right here. And they ended up going on a trip to Israel where Xavier stood in one of like the UN food zones and started bragging about how much food there is there and how Israel's doing right by the people of Gaza and it's Hamas who's stealing all the food. Meanwhile, not like less than a mile away from him, you have Palestinians literally starving to death, but he's standing there doing fucking propaganda for the government that's starving Palestinians to death. 2 weeks after the meeting, Durousseau was reportedly junketed on an all-expenses-paid trip. This is what we just discussed. He recorded an Instagram video denying that the population of the besieged Gaza Strip was experiencing a famine. The Gray Zone received a similarly agitated response from Wilson, known online as Emily Saves America, following a phone call and exchange of text messages in which this reporter asked her numerous times about her attendance of the meeting in the Hamptons. Wilson refused to comment. Instagram photos placed her in the Hamptons at the same time as Durousseau. CJ Pearson is another one, a leading youth coordinator for the RNC, immediately referred the Gray Zone to his communications director when asked if he attended the Hamptons gathering.
I will say that the Israel theory of the Charlie Kirk shooting has really sowed rifts amongst MAGA. I think there's like two camps now. There's the Candace Owen and Tucker Carlson side of things, and like the mainstream DC MAGA side of things, and they are beefing. The worst people are arguing, and I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, but yeah, it's the fact that billionaires are now arguing with podcasters on Twitter is really, it's a sign of the end times, I think. Bill Ackman, the billionaire mentioned in this article, wrote a 900-word tweet about Candace Owens, and I just feel like there's never been a single piece of information that has needed a 900-word tweet ever in the history of humanity. If you're writing a tweet and it gets to 900 words, just delete it. Just let it go, bro. Oh, hey, Francis, how you doing? Nice to see you on Twitch. I wonder why right-wingers are discussing Israel connection. There's a big rift on Israel amongst right-wingers. There's like the more younger and like alt-right types, quite anti-Israel actually. The pro-Israel camp is really just the moral, like, Christian nationalist groups, and the like hardcore neocons, so the ones that have been in government for like 20 plus years, like Marco Rubio and those lot. And the younger ones are way less pro-Israel because obviously, you know, the US has given, I think, 350 billion to Israel since it was founded. And, you know, the younger conservatives are like, well, you could have spent that money on America, right? That's their whole approach. It's the more general anti-war side of things amongst the conservatives. And then you have the more pro-war conservatives who are still backing everything that's going on and still backing sending the money over. So there's actually been a pretty big rift in recent years, and Charlie Kirk was in a weird spot because he was making content for younger conservatives, but all of his funding was from the old guard. So he was stuck between kind of a rock and a hard place where he had to kind of platform some of the more anti-Israel sentiment in order to actually still appeal to young conservatives who were watching his show, but couldn't go all the way. Because obviously then his money would dry up. Remy Sadler, I didn't realize you could write 900 word tweets. Yeah, removing the Twitter word limit was was such a mistake, bro. Was such a mistake. Like, if you can't get it in 140 characters, we don't need to hear what you have to say. This guy's a billionaire as well. You think why do billionaires have nothing better to do than to spend all day on Twitter? But yeah, we'll wrap this up. We'll wrap this video up.
So we scroll down. Seth Dillon was there. Xavier Durousseau was there. This is the video of him denying that there's famine in Gaza, doing Israeli propaganda. You have C.J. Pearson here is the other guy. So these are just some of the D-list conservative influencers who were seemingly at this event. As the Gray Zone reported on September 12th, Kirk was besieged with angry calls and messages from pro-Israel donors to his organization following TPUSA's Student Action Summit this July in Tampa. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had also phoned him, according to a longtime friend of Kirk, and offered to orchestrate a massive infusion of pro-Israel money. A longtime friend of Kirk told the Gray Zone the mounting pressure had left him angry and frightened. Kirk vented about the pro-Israel intimidation campaign in an August 6th discussion with Megyn Kelly, a former Fox News host who was also growing more critical of Israeli influence in Washington. It's all of a sudden, oh, Charlie, he's no longer with us. Wait a second, what does with us mean exactly? I'm an American, okay? I represent this country. The more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, it would be one thing if it were just one text or two texts. It is dozens of texts. Then we start to say, whoa, hold the boat there. Kirk continued. To be fair, some really good Jewish friends say that's not all of us, but these are leaders here. These are stakeholders. He went on, I have less ability to criticize the Israeli government than actual Israelis do, and that's really, really weird. Kirk delivered his comments around the same time as the tumultuous meeting in the Hamptons with Ackman and the crew of pro-Israel influencers. A month earlier, Kirk had opened the stage at TPUSA Student Action Summit for a cathartic outpouring of frustration and rage about Israel's political hammerlock on the Trump administration. At the conference, speakers from Carlson to Kelly to the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith slammed Israel. All right, so this goes on here, guys. You get the point. And here's the thing. Netanyahu, he would view Charlie Kirk as, like, uniquely positioned to help Israel moving forward because Netanyahu knows you lost the Democratic base. They're gone. They hate you. It's like 7% approval for a guy like Netanyahu from the Democratic base, if not less than that, right? So you lost Democratic voters. You're losing a lot of Democratic politicians. You own the Republican Party, and 83% of Republican voters still support Israel. But there's one demographic of Republicans that does not support Israel. Young Republicans. Well, young Republicans are the future. Netanyahu's concerned about the future. Hey, if we have none of the Democrats on our side, and now it's a majority of young Republicans who are also against Israel, well, it would be a very uniquely important figure would be the figurehead of the young conservative movement. And that, of course, is what TPUSA represents, like the youth wing of the Trump MAGA Republican propaganda arm. And for that guy to be, questioning Israel more and more by the day, it certainly is the case that they're saying, okay, hey, we'll give you all this support if you're with us. Hey, come visit Israel. We'd love to have you. Hey, here's over $100 million we want to give you. And he says no to the trip, and he says no to the money. And he felt like he was getting fucking berated and chastised by these pro-Israel billionaires who are trying to pull rank on him and basically say, like, hey, you got to fall in line and do your job here. You could see how Netanyahu and these hardcore Zionists, they would want somebody who is more pro-Israel in that position. You can see how that would be the case. Now, does that mean Israel was the one who did it? No. To this point, there's zero hard evidence to that fact. There's only this circumstantial stuff. But I'm still in the same position I was on day one of this thing, bro, where I'm more confused than ever. I'm more confused than ever. The official story makes no fucking sense. The official story makes no sense. The fact that there were decoys and diversions there on the ground. The fact that he changed clothes multiple times, put together the rifle, and took it apart multiple times. They didn't even bother trying to explain the discrepancies in their story. They just sort of leave it as is and hope you swallow it whole. And then at the same time, you know, we're getting stuff about very powerful people who were having an issue with Kirk. Now, the counter argument to what I'm saying is, of course, that Charlie Kirk was like, you know, to that point, he was like 90%, 80 to 90% massively pro-Israel. You know, like basically cheerleading almost everything they did. He like ranted about how Palestinians are not starving. He made jokes about how, oh, Palestinians throw gay people off of roofs, but guess what? There are no more high buildings in Gaza anymore, so I guess they can't do it anymore. Like, loathsome stuff. But at least according to the reporting, he was turning, right? He was turning. He was questioning it. He was not comfortable with it. Felt like they were blackmailing him. So it's an open question. It's an open question. It certainly looks like a professional job to me, but that doesn't mean it was them, right? That does not mean it was them. I've seen people wildly speculate that, you know, this was from the CIA and this was from the Trump regime. And again, no evidence for that either. But I'll tell you one thing for sure, and this is the part where I hope everybody can agree. For the life of me, I do not fucking trust Kash Patel. I do not trust Dan Bongino. I do not trust any of these hardcore MAGA influencers, these podcasters who are now running the FBI after they fired all the actual experts at the FBI who know what the fuck they're doing. You kick those people out, right? And then you're running the investigation, and we got these stories with 17,000 holes in it. Holes big enough to drive a Mack truck through. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, but I know there's something fishy happening. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
I will say the conspiracy theories they do tickle me. I like how quick they are. So far, I have heard that. I've heard Israel. I've heard the CIA. I've heard the security guard that was next to him apparently like pulled out a little gun and shot him from the side. Yeah, we've heard every single theory under the sun, and there are just no facts at the moment. But I will say that it is extremely weird, and the text messages do not help. They're not helping their case if they're trying to make this seem like it's not a conspiracy. With those weird ass text messages that are just not how kids type. But hey ho, I'm sure we'll find out more soon. I'll just catch up on a few messages in chat. Francis said, been a long day, haven't been in the stream in a minute. What did I miss? I haven't streamed in a minute. So I was fairly unwell over the last week or so, but I'm now feeling a lot better. The only thing you missed was some yapping and covering the basics of the Charlie Kirk stuff, as well as Kash Patel being a clown. Bartwood said Sky from Doomscroll. I saved his Doomscroll episode. I haven't listened to that podcast yet, but I've saved it. If you're curious about how much data Discord has on you, you can request a copy of your data. Oh, okay, you can request a copy of your Discord data. I'm definitely going to do that, actually. Glad you're good. I thought I completely missed your Twitch notifications. No, I was just offline for a little bit, but I'm feeling better. Energized, awake, alert. Me neither. I mean, it's so rare to get Kyle on like another platform, so for him to do a podcast must be quite a big deal. His wife did one the week before as well, so we'll see. And thank you, Telebert, for the follow on Twitch as well. Much appreciated. But yeah, that's that with the Tyler Robertson stuff. I'm sure we'll find out more as the weeks continue. Currently, everyone's just trying to get the next headline, so we don't really know too much of the facts. However, the facts that we have been given by Kash Patel are so unreliable. And this fucking Fed posting is not convincing anyone. So, before we get into the Luigi stuff, I'm going to take a quick break, get some water, stretch my legs, go to the toilet. I would suggest you do the same. And we'll be back in like 2 minutes or something. I'll get some stuff up on the screen so you're not too bored while I'm away, but I've been trying to build out a little break time playlist. So while I go to the toilet and grab some water, I suggest you do the same. Currently, this is the first video in the break time playlist. Be 2 seconds, okay?
welcome to the amazing world of cat massage. My name is Mary Jean Ballner, and this is my wonderful cat, Champion. In this videotape, you'll learn that your cat doesn't want petting anymore. Your cat wants a massage. And we'll be able to show you how, based on my book, Cat Massage. So continue watching, and you'll learn to bring on power purring and mega meow moments. When to cat massage? Whenever. Computer keyboards, on the couch. Cat massage makes TV commercials bearable. And of course, on the bed. Our best massage techniques were developed here. Cat massage is the easiest way to produce a cat smile and is a reliable source for cat giggles. Listen closely for cat giggles. Sometimes, cat will approach you for massage. You know what that's like. He's rubbing up against you. Or he'll simply give you a look that says, "Massage time." These are the prominent chest muscles seen on proud bodybuilders. Remember the old Simon and Garfunkel song, "Slow down, you're moving too fast"? That says a lot about life and about cat massage. No more boring. Now, let's look at pressures. Feather light. Barely make contact with your cat. Just feel for fur, like the touch of a fairy. When the purring becomes excessive, we call it power purring. Eyes blinking. Cat smiles. We've all seen cat smiles and they're glorious. Need we say more? Chest cupping. Champion and I did this as I was editing this script, and at one part, he wouldn't let me go. He was just sitting, resting, and purring, and I was typing one-handed. Drooling. In this case, a drooler is not a person specializing in rings and watches. Remember, you can't fool drool. Voice massage was created when I was at the computer and Champion wanted massage. We compromised and I sang to him, and I've been singing to him for over 12 years. One of our songs starts like this.
Right, I'm back, lads. We'll watch the rest of it, given that we're 2 minutes in.
Who's the best cat in the United States? It's you, Champer Damper. It's you. Use our song, change the names, or create your own. Wishing you power purring and mega meow moments always. Bye for now. Who's the best cat in the United States? It's you, Champer Damper. It's you. You're my cat and you're so good.
We're back for real. There we go. Yeah. Hope you all got a chance to stretch your legs, get a drink of water. I'm trying to slowly build out a playlist of little break time videos for us to watch while I'm away. And I think that's a good start. Absolute banger. I like to see the chat messages without without any context. But yeah, what was that 107? Oh, this one.
Chest muscles.
Yeah, anyways, we'll get into Luigi. It's finally time. I've got a brief update for you. Just need to get my little slides up as to what's been going on in that man's life. But he's been doing his thing, man. He's been doing his thing. My Bombay is so affectionate, will accept belly rubs, full stop. Males tend to be that way. No, yeah, my kitty will also take full belly rubs. She loves it. She's very big fan. But if you overstay your welcome, then you get scratched. Co Francis, I just realized you're at a different angle in the room. Yeah, one of the things I did in the week off was to rejig my setup so that I can access the balcony, which is over here. And this is what I came up with. We'll see. It's still a work in progress. I feel like I need to get a copy of The Sims or something so I can plan my setup again. I used to love Love doing the like making nice rooms on The Sims. Made me feel like a property developer or some shit. I like how she leaves the room that international cats might defeat his title. Ah, thank you. Yeah, the cat tree was found off of Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy like who lives like a 10-minute walk from me who happens to be a carpenter, like woodworker, and he makes cat trees as a hobby and wanted to get rid of this one. So he was like, yeah, let's on Marketplace. So yeah, it's sick. It was actually made by someone like in my local neighborhood and everything. Feels like I'm supporting the people around me. And it was like 100 Canadian dollars, which I think is a really good price. Hey, bub. Come down. Come on. There you go. Sorted. Yeah. Oh. Maximum tail. Proper candy cane. Right. Let's get into it. What we're talking about. Mangione, give me the formioli. Get back to say. Okay. Take care, Remy. Thanks for coming along, and happy birthday once again, mate. Happy birthday once again. Enjoy your dinner, okay? Make sure to get dessert. I love you too. Okay, take care. Bye. For everyone else who remains, we're gonna go into the Luigi Mangione section, okay? Few updates, and we will dive in. So where are we? We are here. Right, let's get into it. So, in late 2024, Luigi Mangione allegedly shot the CEO of United Health, a man by the name of Brian Thompson. And since then, quite a lot has happened. The internet kind of went ablaze. Luigi became a bit of a meme, and a lot of people fell in love with him. But a lot has happened since then. It's gotten a lot crazier, and I kind of want to give you your update on the status of Luigi Mangione's current trial. Since he did get initially arrested, he became a millionaire briefly after over $1.2 million was donated to his legal fund. A musical was created in his honor, Luigi the Musical, which ended up having a sold out run in San Francisco and going international. And he received he received quite a lot of letters. So he celebrated his 27th birthday in jail and ended up releasing this letter where he detailed everything that he was grateful for. And there are a few bangers in here, to be honest. He starts off by thanking his friends, his family, all the people he's met in jail that have helped him. And then he gets a bit more creative towards the end. My personal favorite was the shout out he gave to number 16, which is Latinas for Mangione. No, hang on. No. Hang on, lad. No, get away. I'm trying to eat my. Oh, God, that's disgusting. 2 seconds. No. Okay. My cat was like licking my earbuds. I think she likes the taste of the earwax. Absolutely disgusting. Filthy. Again. Can I continue? Okay. But yeah, I will say finding out that that Latinos for Mangione made it into his birthday thank you list was definitely somewhat of a surprise. He also seemed to set in motion the complete destruction of he also seemed to set in motion the complete destruction of United Health, the company, because since the shooting that he allegedly did, the company's been kind of in free fall. Their stock price has gone down by over 40% in the last year, and they are currently under investigation for fraud as well. Yeah, they are struggling. They are struggling. But in terms of the actual murder case, right? So there's actually a legal case taking place at the minute. There are some meaningful updates to that. But I will say that the first update is that Luigi is still as photogenic as ever. He is possibly the first person I've ever seen go into jail and have a glow up whilst in prison. He was already like a really attractive guy, but now he's just looking like even more of a Chad. And I've never seen someone look this good after 6 months in jail. But there is more material stuff. Possibly the most important relevant fact is that he has just had 2 charges dropped. Okay, hang on. We'll sort out this little kitty and we'll get cracking. Okay, give me a second. What's up, bub? What's up? Hmm? Come on. What do you want? What do you want? 1 minute. Crazy that it's tanked that much when the market is on an all-time high. Yeah, United Health has been down bad. They've had like a series of investigations opened into them for like billions of dollars of potential fraud, and so things are not looking great for them. But I will say that things are looking a lot better for Luigi. He still has has not broken his record of only being able to take extremely photogenic pictures, and he's looking as good as ever. But in terms of actual material stuff, the biggest one is that a judge has actually thrown out 2 terrorism charges that were listed against him. So he wasn't just on trial for murder, but he was also on trial for committing murder as a crime of terrorism. This is under a batch of laws that were passed after 9/11 to prosecute actual terrorists. For example, one of the people that this law was used against was a dude who was fundraising for ISIS. And another guy was a white supremacist who murdered a black person because of some stated racial goals, right? And Luigi obviously did not strike that kind of fear into the hearts of the public. The law that they tried to get him under would be an add-on to the crimes that he had committed, allegedly. And it was, if they were allegedly done with the intention to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, or to influence the policy of a unit of government. And the big thing is that if he was tried under this charge and was found guilty, it would be an automatic life sentence for him. So getting this dropped is actually a pretty big deal for him. The main argument behind why he's not a terrorist is the fact that in his own diaries, he explains that he's choosing to just kill one person as opposed to, say, bombing the corporate headquarters. Because in his own words, bombs equal terrorism, and it would recklessly endanger countless employees. So quite clearly, Luigi didn't strike fear into the hearts of the general public. in the way that the government would like you to believe. And the judge seemed to agree with that. But it's not like he's really gotten off anything. He hasn't got off scot-free, right? If that's what you think, because he is facing a laundry list of charges. These are just the charges he faces in New York at the moment. He still faces more murder charges as well as weapons possessions, and has a separate federal investigation going on at the same moment. So he's not exactly free, but he has had a big win, I would say, in court as of late. And to be fair, the whole terrorism charge against Luigi was, I think, arguably quite politically motivated. There was this huge push by politicians in the wake of the shooting to make Luigi out to be like the Unabomber or something like that, right? Like Charles Manson. And the mayor of New York even participated in the in the perp walk for some reason. He's such a clown, man, Eric Adams. Yeah, there was this huge media push for a guy who clearly wasn't seeking to do more murder or to do more crimes. And the New York City elite, or the political elite at least, felt like they had to put up a front and had to get the clicks effectively. And the terrorism charges were, in my opinion, definitely a result of that, a way to promote this message that Luigi was not someone to be adored, because a lot of the public did seem to like him. This was an that. I'm sorry, Lossol. I can give you Twitch mod status, to be fair, if you want after this. We don't have many people in Twitch chat, so I'm sure you guys can take care of it. But yes, they could not have made him look any cooler if they tried in these pictures. They go so hard. Whack a parental advisory sticker in the corner right there, and that's an album cover for you. Luigi versus the People, that could be a debut album. Ludicrous. But yes, as I say, Luigi has not really gotten off like scot-free or anything, and he's still facing some really serious charge. Probably the biggest charge he faces is in his federal trial. So he's currently expected to have a trial in New York against the state of New York, and a trial against the US federal government. And in that trial, the government has stated that they're looking to get the death penalty for him. His lawyers did try to get this thrown out on the grounds that he'd be getting charged twice for the same crime. So he'd be getting charged once at a state level for those crimes and getting charged again at a federal level for the same murder with the same witnesses, the same evidence. They argued that to do two trials for the same crime is double jeopardy. You're punishing someone twice for the same offense. Unfortunately, that hasn't stuck. And it turns out that there's like an exception in New York state law that says that if you're facing a federal case and a state case, it doesn't count as double jeopardy. So he is still facing some really serious charges. Likely the death penalty is going to be the outcome if he loses his federal trial. But at least at a state level, things are looking a little bit better because New York doesn't actually impose the death penalty as a state punishment. And the trial is expected to last 2 months. So we should be getting more and more updates basically every day as things go by. But he has had some small wins, which is that, people are sending him letters, people are sending him money, and he has over $1 million raised from over 30,000 people. Clearly there's like mass public support, and the attempts to paint him as like as a terrorist, as someone who's trying to incite fear into the public at large, haven't really worked because so many people have such negative impressions of the healthcare industry that they supported him, right? Which is why you have Latinas for Mangione making it onto the top 20 list of things that he's grateful for. Lossell says, is there justification as to why it's not counted as double jeopardy? Yeah, so the whole idea is that New York case law has an exception for what counts as double jeopardy. And they specifically make the exception that if you're facing a federal case and a state case, you've effectively committed an offense against two different parties. And so it's not the same trial being run twice. So in one trial, he's being tried against the state of New York for committing crimes. And he's being tried in a separate trial against the US government for committing crimes against the people as a nation. And there's already like a legal provision for this in the law. So there's no double jeopardy thing going on there. Even though it does sound like double jeopardy to be tried twice for the same murder. All they're missing in the photo is Kash Patel. Yeah, that's the only thing that would make I'm also being in a photo with Kash Patel make anyone look like Luigi. Is that justification as to but like why is it both state and federal and not just one or the other? So the federal charges are, I think, arguably politically motivated. They allow Donald Trump and Pam Bondi to get their headline and for them to feel like they've done something, and also to implement the death penalty. So if he was just being tried on state charges, he wouldn't be able to get the death penalty. But Trump reversed a federal like break on giving people the death penalty, so he can get that in his federal trial as a punishment. So yeah, that's kind of why they're pushing the state and federal trial at the same time. His defense had tried to get one of them thrown out so that he'd only be tried once, but it's clearly that we've got a case here where it's legally valid to try him twice, and he'll get likely some kind of life sentence in the state case and then end up with maybe the death penalty in the federal case. Battletoad said he's inspired millions. I'm uplifted anytime I'm able to recall those CCTV frames into my vision. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a push to try and claim that Luigi was committing acts of terrorism, because I don't think there are many people outside of maybe healthcare CEOs that feel terrorized right now. The general public opinion towards Luigi is a lot more positive, and people are in his corner, as evidenced by the fact that 30,000 plus people decided to donate money to his legal relief fund. I feel like they made it too public for a fair trial. I think that's a real argument, to be fair, that it is so publicized, but they do this often. I think there are often high profile cases. I guess at this point he just has to hope that the prosecution keep fumbling, and they have fumbled a couple of times. I think arguably the biggest one was when they accidentally listened to an entire phone call. Listened to an entire phone call between him and his lawyer, and had to admit that they did later on. So they can hope that the incompetence of the government persists, and that the rot has infected, I guess, the DOJ and New York State Attorney, or District Attorney, and he'll be good if that's the case. But for now, things still look pretty rough on the whole for him, but he has evaded 2 major charges and still has tons and tons of public support. I actually want to show you some pictures from outside his case. There were still plenty of people in Luigi merch outside of the courtroom as he was having his day in court. Yeah, I think it's probably a bit of a stretch to call this guy a terrorist. Well, I guess all terrorists have supporters, but these were the scenes outside of his court. Plenty of Luigi hats, and a lot of people actually out in support. So we'll find out over the next couple of months how this wraps up. But currently he is in a tough spot, but has had a little bit of relief that he's had a few charges dropped. This is also an incredibly hard photo. These photos have come out so good. It's about a green hat. Yeah, I think we need to get a Luigi outfit, man. I wish they were live streaming the trial so we could watch it together. But unfortunately, it is New York, and they don't live stream their court cases. But yes, I think there is a bigger point to be made about the fact that they tried to get him on terrorism charges, which is a vast fucking stretch of the definition of terrorism. And it's a fear that has actually been raised by New York lawyers, as I was reading about it, in the wake of 9/11. Obviously, in the wake of any tragedy, laws get passed, and often those laws tend to push the boundaries of what's already acceptable, usually in terms of surveillance and things like that. And this is another example of trying to push the boundaries of a law which was clearly designed to tackle actual like terrorists, and apply it to a case where the average person of New York probably wasn't that shook by it. And I think we'll likely see that again with other killings where laws that are passed to, you know, protect the people are used to abuse them. Okay, Luigi. Also says has to be civil court. Yeah, it does. It does before it's streamed. Vixil says if he's given the highest penalty, if he's given the highest penalty, he should donate his genetic material. They'd be taking us. Oh, they 100% would. They 100% would. I really wonder how this would have played out if Luigi was ugly, lol. I think he had a lot of support beforehand. Before anyone even knew who he was, right? Like, he had quite a lot of support when they only had the masked pictures of him. But him just being an absolute Chad just helps helps the public approval, you know. Would there still be Latinas for Mangione? Who knows, mate? Who knows? But I don't blame him. His birthday letter was quite wholesome, to be honest, and I think there were some wholesome lessons in there. You know, he mentioned that 30,000 people donated over $1 million to his legal fund. He thanks his friends and family. Apparently, he's had letters sent to him from over 40 different countries, which is wild. But yeah, that's your Luigi update. And hopefully over the course of the next couple of months, we'll be learning more and more about it, and we'll have a clearer idea of what the future looks like for him. Likely, even if he does face the death penalty in his federal case, that's way more likely to drag on for several years at least. So we're still going to get updates, and we'll see if it ends up getting thrown out on a technicality, or if he sticks it through to the end. Hi Zoe, how you doing? I'm sure you remember everything's yours too, but mate, I had emergency surgery to remove your gallbladder. God, mate, you've been yeah, you had a kid as well recently, right? I hope you're feeling okay. That sounds absolutely horrifying. Any kind of emergency surgery is a fear of mine. I've never had to have surgery, but yeah, hope you're okay. Are you back home? Like, yeah, your kid had extra surgeries as well. Yeah, you were saying, God, turbulent summer. Is everyone back home now and okay and well? Francis, I know China's a big fan of him. Oh yeah, the only other Luigi update you should know about is that he briefly appeared as a model on the Chinese fast fashion website Shein. Someone used artificial intelligence on Shein to sell clothes with Luigi as the model. Only $10 for a Luigi approved shirt, apparently. Hilarious. Everyone is home. That's fantastic news, mate. Fantastic news. How's your gallbladder feeling? You missing it? Surgery's cool. I should try it. Yeah, hopefully I'll never have to try surgery. Yeah, the thought of going into surgery is like one of my biggest irrational fears. I just feel like the surgeon will fuck it up. You know, I'm just convinced. I don't know why. I feel like I'm just going to get the one surgeon that's like looking to murder someone. I'll tell you what, speaking of crazy surgeons, this is probably the craziest surgeon that I've heard of in recent weeks. Surgeon jailed after amputation of own legs. just the title is ridiculous. But to save you reading the story, this NHS surgeon who's just working as a doctor in the UK has recently been arrested after he convinced another surgeon to chop off his legs, as in chop off like his own legs. Turns out this guy had like a crazy amputee fetish, and I'm not gonna lie, gang, I've never been so horny that I would remove my legs, but to each their own, right? This guy was like so possessed by this fetish for amputees that he decided, fuck it, I'm getting rid of my own shits, and stuck his own legs into ice until he basically gave himself frostbite, and convinced another surgeon to operate and remove his legs. Pretty wild story. But I just always think that if I go into surgery, I'm gonna get this guy. This is the guy I'm gonna get. But I also didn't know you could be removed. You could be jailed for removing your own legs. Oh yeah, actually, the thing he was jailed for wasn't necessarily removing the legs. It was claiming to the insurance that he had an injury and that he needed a payout. Crazy. It's a wild world. This guy was just working in a hospital for years. He was 49. He'd been a doctor for like 2+ decades. But I guess the gooning got to him, mate. The gooning got to him. Yeah, he literally oh, there we go. He claimed £466,000 from the insurance. I think, I don't know, hot take. I think you should be allowed to keep it. I think if you remove your legs for an insurance claim, they should let you keep the money. You kind of deserve it at that point, right? Like, it's not like he faked the injuries. He did remove his own legs. After the amputations, he was back at work in just 6 months with prosthetic legs. Bruh, that is the grind set. That is the grind set. After, how did they prove it was fraud? I think they checked his injuries or something. Let me see. We'll find out how they proved it. Okay, so Hopper was identified following investigations into Marius Gustafsson, who ran the Eunuch Maker website. Oh yeah, he bought some like really illegal porn or something about like, yeah, some like amputation type deal. Let's not think about too much of what was in the videos. But yes, he bought some illegal videos from a website called Eunuch Maker. You know, that's what I call my strap, bro. I call my Glock the Eunuch Maker. That is a Game of Thrones sword name. That's what that is, right? Like, you've got Excalibur. I've got the Eunuch Maker. Anyways, yeah, one of those dress-up flash games. But yes, so Andrew Langdon, King's Counsel, said in mitigation that the offences had been a shock to friends. Hopper had been very committed to working to the service of others. The whole saga is very difficult to comprehend. The extreme pornography purchases were connected to videos of body mutilation that Hopper had purchased online and didn't include children, the court heard. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. I only read like half of this article. Mr. Lee told the court that Hopper had bought 3 videos from the websites for £10 and £35, showing men willingly having their genitals removed. He also exchanged about 1,500 messages with Gustafsson about his own lower leg amputations and how he'd done it, including asking how much dry ice he'd used. Oh, so he found a guy who'd already done this. Ah, okay. He'd suffered body dysphoria and that his feet were an unwelcome extra and a persisting, never-ending discomfort to him. Damn. He didn't regret the operation, but bitterly regrets the dishonesty about their cause. And then after the operation, he'd been overwhelmed by support from friends and family. Fair enough, you know? He's way too happy in this picture. Little bro is cheesing. This is not the face of a man who's depressed that he's just had a double amputation. Man, I love this world. There's just anything you can think of, somebody's into it. Like literally, like our imaginations are not creative enough to come up with the things that people are into. Mr. Cynic, do you have something to admit to the chat tonight? And yeah, I mean, I'm not mad about him from. I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild, pretty wild. I'm just so surprised that like a surgeon of multiple decades didn't seek out help. I guess I don't know. That's wild though. Okay, so you know, he didn't do anything to any patients, which I think is the best outcome for this, right? Like the fact that he didn't remove any patients' legs, I think is by far and away the best outcome. He only really like fucked up himself. I mean, yeah. I think you'd be happier if you got to keep the $500,000, but Zoe Phillips says, after processing everything, I'm jealous of this guy. How good is your life to think, man, this would be better if I didn't have legs? I mean, yeah, it's definitely a sign that overall things are going pretty well in life if you think the main way to improve it would be to remove your legs. Okay, his patients seem to like him. Jason Abbott from Hale, whose foot was amputated by Hopper in November 22 after painful arthritis in an ankle, said he had no concerns about his care. He was great, very supportive, gave me loads of information, and told me to have a really good think about it, and I did. Damn. But yeah, I guess your gallbladder surgery got me thinking about this, but it does I mean, it baffles me that how mental health can express, right? Like the last person you would expect to do this would be someone who's been working as a surgeon for decades, but clearly like something was not quite right, and he could have got away with it if he didn't try to do any insurance fraud. That's the thing, right? They always say never commit a crime while you're committing a crime, and that was this guy's downfall. You can have the insurance fraud, or you can have the illegal double amputation, but you can't have both, man. You can't have both. Those prosthetics look too long. They should make them shorter. I am Battletoad. This man is a professional surgeon who does amputations for a living, and in his spare time would goon to amputee porn. I feel like he probably knows what size legs to get, right? I will say though, he is remarkably happy in every single picture. He's absolutely look at him, he's so happy. This is hands down the happiest anyone's ever been after a double amputation. I think if you want and he's a good surgeon, maybe take the money back, but let him keep doing surgery. Do not let this man keep doing surgery, man. That's a risky move. I mean, I know that the UK is short on doctors, but they're not this short, are they? I think if he does surgeries, let him do like hard shit. Anything internal, let him do the insides. At least then if you fuck shit up, you can just stitch it back up. Given how many highly skilled professionals are the most degenerate furries you'll ever meet, I'm not at all surprised. But yeah, I will say there's a big crossover between, that's mainly software developers, isn't it? They're kind of keeping the furry community going strong. But yeah, the UK has a bit of a history of rogue surgeons. This has got me thinking about another guy as well. This guy was a bit of a meme surgeon. So a few years ago, there was this dude here. He had a bit of a of a different approach to getting his rocks off while doing surgery. So the liver branding surgeon Simon Bramhall was fined £10,000, and this dude used an argon beam machine, like literally a laser, to write his initials on the organs of anesthetized patients in 2013 while working at Birmingham's Queen Elizabeth Hospital. This guy would be doing like liver surgeries on people, and he'd like pull over the laser to like sign the liver before stitching it back up. And he got off really easy. He only had to pay 10 grand and then got a 12-month community order. Didn't even go to jail. He was found out because he fucked up one of the surgeries, and the patient went to a different doctor afterwards, and they opened him up, and it said like Simon was here on the liver. Oh. And yeah, he got outed that way. This guy seemed to get away with it pretty much scot-free. I'm pretty sure he's still on the register. I didn't see anything happen to him, but he did this to multiple patients, where he would sign his name in their livers before stitching it up, which feels like a foolproof plan. I don't know if there's any pictures of the liver patients. Liver. I mean, this is not a real one, but yeah, I don't seem like there's any pictures. Yeah, so he admitted it, but he basically got away with it. Well, the doctors are getting shot. You are right, dog sweaters. Lauren says, in a week that I thought couldn't get weirder, here we are. Excellent advice, only do one crime at a time. Yeah, I learned that from a deep study of the cartels. That's what they tell you, right? If you're gonna transport fentanyl across border lines, make sure that your plates are right, your headlights are right, or you have to bribe the guard on the border. I'd rather have amputee guy work on me than this freak. Depends on the surgery, to be fair. I mean, I don't know who's worse. Are we saying amputee surgeon is worse than signature surgeon? I kind of get the signature guy, right? Like, after doing your 300th liver bypass or whatever, liverectomy, hepatoctomy or some shit, you must get bored. You must get really bored doing the same shit again and again after studying for decades to be like a top surgical director. Oh, okay, so signature guy's getting more hate. He's getting more hate. Where there are no nurses in the operating theatre, a man cannot manage a surgery on his own. I think the power dynamic is like pretty fucked in hospitals. Like, if you're high ranking enough, they'll basically let you get away with whatever, right? There was that, I guess we're in a weird doctor segment, and we're gonna go over to the US, but there was that doctor that would get naked, right? I don't know if you guys saw that. Charlie posted about it. We'll watch it next. But turns out you can get away with basically anything if you're a high ranking doctor. Nobody says anything. It's much like if you're a politician, right? John says, doesn't the cartel use submarines mostly now? No, so they do use submarines, but they only use submarines for like South America to Europe shipping routes. Because if you're going to North America, the border's super easy to cross, so they just drive it over most of the time. And they do use some submarines on the coast, but it's mainly just driven over. The submarines are mainly for shipping drugs from South America to Europe. It's a big mission, so they can go to like North Africa in these little submarines and then figure it out from there. In case you were planning on joining a cartel, you'll have a bit more info for the interview. But yeah, given that we're in a weird doctor segment, I mean, this guy's got to be the weirdest, right? Let's see if I can find a specific one. It's been copyright claimed. Okay, news naked doctor.
More about an.
Okay. I think this guy is objectively the worst of the doctors that we've just covered. You know, currently it seems like Signature Doctor is the least popular, and Amputee guy has got a level up. But I want to see where you rank this guy.
Northeast Arkansas physician who had his license suspended. The suspension of Dr. David Diffenay stemmed from a complaint sent into the state medical board in July related to alleged inappropriate sexual contact in one of his medical offices. We sent in a Freedom of Information Act request to the Arkansas State Medical Board to get access to Diffenay's file. According to the investigators' report, Diffenay denied all of the claims listed in the complaint. Macy Davis joins us now, breaking down what we learned.
The board received the complaint on July 17th. It included multiple video files, and we do want to warn you the video is graphic. We have censored it due to the explicit content. Anyone who might be sensitive to this content may want to change the channel. According to board documents, this video.
This guy's the doctor, by the way. This guy's running the hospital at that moment. The crazy thing is, why is he wearing his watch? This is the level of naked that you can not ever explain. If you're going to decide to get naked, by the way, in public, just get fully naked, okay? Don't retain like one item of clothing, because then everyone knows it's intentional. If you're just like completely stark naked, you can blame it on a mental health situation. If you're still wearing your baseball cap and you've got your necklace and wristwatch on, good looking court is all I'll say.
Video was taken in 2019 at Diffenay Family Practice in Blytheville. In it, Dr. David Diffenay can be seen walking around naked, including in the hallway between patient rooms. Another video clip sent in shows him in the receptionist area walking around 3 women and performing a sex act directly in front of one of the women. The clip ends with him ejaculating on her. According to the documents we received, not only did the woman work in Diffenay's office as a lab tech for another company, she was one of his patients. According to the person who sent the board the videos, this all happened during business hours. They also claimed Diffenay used his, quote, position of power, sexual grooming, salary increases to groom employees and patients into repulsive acts.
Yeah, this guy's the worst. This guy's the worst. It's just crazy what happens, right, when you get these dudes in positions of power. And I can't remember who said this earlier, but you know, there we go, Battletoad, literally 4 messages ago. But yeah, these doctors are seen as being like intellectually superior to regular people. Like doctors have so much clout socially, especially amongst older people. And if a doctor tells you to do something, it's, for some people, it's like a priest telling you to do something, right? You can actually trust them. But often they go crazy,
At
like
least
this
one
guy who's
person
just a
agreed.
straight up
Dr. Bradley
sex criminal.
Diner with the Arkansas Medical Foundation wrote, quote, "The pervasive behavior leads to concerns about a sexual compulsive disorder of paraphilia, which may in fact cross boundaries with his delivery of medical care." An investigator with the Arkansas Department of Health interviewed Dr. Diffenay in September. According to the report from that interview, Dr. Diffenay was informed there were video clips of his actions. Dr. Diffenay said, quote, "I don't know anything about that at all. I'd have to see those things to have any idea what you're talking about," end quote. K8 News attempted to call Diffenay at his various offices for a comment. We also called his personal phone number and left a voicemail. We received no response, so we went to his home to see if he would answer our questions.
I'm gonna ring one more time.
We noticed a vehicle near
yeah,
his
I remember
home
you-
at the
sorry.
time. No one came to the door. I also reached out to his cell phone through text after we stopped by, but we did not get a response back. This isn't the first time Diffenay has been investigated by the medical board. Earlier this year, someone complained about what Diffenay calls his naturist activities. In the January complaint, the board was informed that Diffenay was posting nude photos of himself on his social media accounts. The complainant included screenshots from Diffenay's Instagram account, Naked Dr. Dave. In his response to the
Naked Dr. Dave.
board, Diffenay said he is a naturist, and his accounts were well known to the naturist community. He cited the practice as promoting acceptance and body positivity, adding, quote, "We do not shame, sexualize, fear, or negatively stigmatize the naked body." He added that there was, quote, "no crossover whatsoever with my professionalism while practicing medicine and my naturist activities," end quote. During its June meeting, the board chose not to take any action and decided to save the documentation as information only and add it to his file for future reference. Diffenay has also been investigated in the past for allegations surrounding illegally distributing pain medications. His Arkansas medical license
about
was
right.
temporarily suspended in 2017 while the board investigated those claims of overprescribing. The board sent Diffenay a letter saying they found no evidence of a violation of the Arkansas Medical Practices Act and closed the investigation. In Missouri in 2011, Diffenay entered into a deferred prosecution agreement after he was investigated by the medical board and criminally charged for allegedly illegally distributing pain medications. Criminal charges were dropped, and Diffenay agreed not to practice medicine in Missouri for 3 years. In 2013, the Missouri State Board of Registration for the Healing Arts closed the matter before the medical board and took no action. On October 14th, the Arkansas State Medical Board suspended Diffenay's license related to the videos submitted in July. His hearing is set for December 6th. We will be there to provide further updates. In studio, Macy Davis, K8 News.
Diffenay's hearing will be at 4 p.m., as Macy said, on December 6th.
Yeah, I think this guy's the worst. this guy takes the cake. Okay, he gets the award for being the worst doctor yet. I hate as well that he was like trying to market himself as being being body positive and not sexualizing his body while literally beating his meat in front of his employees and patients. Oh, hi Alexander, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I've already been on for a couple hours. It's still nice to have you. He's so Chechen. You know what I mean? The anchor. I don't. I thought you were talking about the area of Russia. He's the least. Yeah, this guy is the least insane but most evil on our list of doctors. But yes, don't know how we got here. I think we're talking about Zoe's gallbladder surgery. But yeah, can I write on your liver? Of course you can, Zoe. Of course you can. Ironically, amputee's the opposite. Yeah, this guy doesn't want to show people any of his body. But yeah, that little segment was some of the world's wildest doctors. Definitely some pretty interesting characters out there. I will say, in general, I still trust doctors. But when I was at university, I lived with like 4 or 5 medical students in my house, and I got to see the inside scoop on the people who are now actually doctors. And yeah, I'll say I only trust a few of them. There are definitely some people who I know are doctors who maybe shouldn't be, but as long as we've gone through all the exams, they're probably all right. Probably all just ChatGPT these days, right? So you can move 2 videos. Yeah, of course. Remind me of the cops I know at IRL. Oh, mate. I thankfully don't know anyone who's a police officer, but especially in the US, like the lack of training that you need to become a police officer is so scary. I've probably shown the table before, but there's a table which compares how much training police officers need by country. There we go. This is the one. BBC. There it is. It's hours of police training required. Oh. And it's like Finland, Germany, Australia, England, and Canada. And Finland requires 5,500 hours of training. Which, what, if you're doing 40 hours a week, what's that? That's like 10, 100. That's like several years, right? That's like 2-3 years of actual training before you can become a police officer. In the US, it's like 550 hours, which is like 3 months or something of full-time work. Not probably like more like 6 months, but and these guys have guns. They have guns. Mad. Every position of authority / prestige will attract people in of those factors. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. And you see it everywhere, right? You see it in the corporate world, you see it in politics and stuff like that. Obviously, the job itself and the prestige does self-select for certain kinds of people. But come on, I feels like there's a quick fix in America, right? Like it feels like this would help. Just bumping up the amount of training that you need to become a qualified police officer, having some kind of national standard. But I imagine there's lots of like states laws and county level laws that would prevent the federal government from ever doing something like this. It's worse than the people let on with the cops. The things I've heard out the mouths of those who carry that authority, frankly, very concerning. Yeah, the one friend I had who did go into the police ended up like dropping out after like 6 months or something, and he's just a really nice guy. I don't think he would be able to handle London policing and like all of the corruption and just horrible stuff that you need to do to be a police officer, or at least to be accepted as part of a police force, especially if it's already a corrupt police force. I just noticed that the feng shui is on point. New background feels more inviting. Turn the desk running. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. It was an experiment. I wasn't sure if it would pan out, but it does feel more inviting, and it's more functional as well. So I appreciate the compliment. City where I was born actually had a scandal where they only hired the police who had the lowest passing exams scores on their exams. Yeah, that sounds about right. They claimed it was in the interest of retention, but it was a huge scandal when it leaked. Yeah, no, I heard about this actually. What was it? New Hampshire? Okay, yeah, I heard about this. There was a police force that said if you did too well on the tests, they wouldn't give you a job. Because you might. The argument they made is that really high performers on the tests end up not sticking with the force for a long time, and instead of maybe questioning why that might be the case, they decided to just hire the people that didn't do quite as well on the test. Makes you wonder why the test exists. I mean, even the ideological stuff I've heard is quite worrying. So we need to catch up with some of these guys so I can check in on that shit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? In general, people who are attracted to like positions of being able to enforce like state sanctioned violence, often it's people who want to make the world a better place, right? Like there are obviously 100% people who join the police force with like the hope of trying to fix their local communities and stuff. But giving people that kind of power with that little training is just a recipe for getting people who want to do violence and get away with it. No, they just dumb you down after you get in. Well, yeah, the corruption, the bribery. It seems. It seems. Yeah, like you have to be a certain kind of person to thrive in the police force, right? Just 100 from right-wing teenagers to constables and sergeants. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, this is this table always like baffles me of how little training you actually need to become a police officer. Like you would think to enforce the law, you need to at least have a basic understanding of how the laws work. In the Baltics, to work in the police force, you have to go to a police college for at least 10 months full time, 2.5 years if you want to work on the street and do more than basic admin work. I mean, you would think this is like the basic level. Like why is, because we treat doctors and lawyers with the expectation that they have to have a really deep understanding of what they do because it's people's lives that are on the line. But for some reason, police officers don't seem to have that responsibility. I'm not quite sure why. There's probably some weird historical reasons, right? I'm pretty sure one of the problems that the requirements for being a police officer has gotten so high that people hired end up being overqualified, like teachers, end up going to the private sector to make more money. Well, I mean, that's a theory, but I don't know how convinced I am that the problem with the police force is that people are too smart and educated and qualified. I'm not quite sure how much of a problem that is compared to the police officers who don't really understand the limits of their power. In Texas, you have to have a 4-year degree. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. In all of Texas. In England and Wales, you have to have a degree as well. It's there, but okay. It says in this article that most U.S. forces require the equivalent of a high school diploma. Hey, Smile. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope your appointment was okay. We had a brief little detour talking about crazy surgeons, including a dude who chopped his own legs off, and one surgeon who would sign the livers of his patients. But we briefly moved on to just talking about the police force and the crazy low levels of training you need to carry around a gun in the US. On average, about 21 weeks of training compared to several years of training in other countries. I saw some news station that said that police in high numbers are letting their co-workers free during DUI stops. Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. The police force is conceptually like a neighborhood militia. Yeah, I imagine more so in the US. It's definitely more neighborhood driven. I believe the origin is from like the London peelers, which were like a community group. But it seems like in the US, the police is managed at like the county level. I'm not really sure how it works, but they seem to not have that much oversight. Might be 2 years, but yeah, local is up to 4 years required in the start pay 77K. If you have any kind of math, you can go to the private sector and make 100K. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about police pay to be able to say if that's like in line with other places or higher or lower. Oh, says it was great. Thank you. I might get reinstated for injury benefit. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And Andrew says, first time in the stream, I'm really enjoying it. Thanks. Welcome, Andrew. Been nice having you. Nice having you. We've been off for a couple of weeks, but it's nice to be back. Okay, we're gonna watch some more stuff. There is still some more thingamajigs I wanted to catch up on. So let's dive in. Oh yes. I wish they had accountability and help with PTSD and appropriate training. I hate the stories of how coroners will help crooked police cover their crimes. Jesus. I'd never heard of this. This goes way deeper than I thought. But yes, I agree. I think that the police obviously don't have support for when they leave, and they know that they don't have support for when they leave. So yeah, that's for sure a problem, especially now when that police officers are like expected to do like mental health work and basically attend mental health calls all the time when they're not trained in mental health. They're hardly not trained in anything at all in a lot of places, and they're just kind of left to these situations where it's unreasonable to expect them to know even how to respond safely when tensions are so high and training is so low. So yeah, I do feel for them, and I do feel for the people who are, in the police force, hoping that they'll be able to make their communities better. Francis says, new member of Fads Gang, welcome to the Faddies. No clue what we're called. Francis, the pitch we had before from Mr. Cynic was the Fadshists. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I'm too big of a fan of that one, but Faddies is great as well. Fad Lads, that one works. But yes, let's bear with me a second. I'll get the shit up and we'll get cracking. Too late to change it, Mr. Cynic. It was never officially implemented, okay? Okay. What we will do is we will first we'll watch Kyle's update on Jimmy Kimmel. We'll see if there's anything we didn't know about the story, and we'll learn a little bit more about that, okay?
I've got some breaking news here for you. Jimmy Kimmel was just indefinitely suspended over a joke he made about Charlie Kirk. So Disney's ABC is pulling Jimmy Kimmel indefinitely after remarks about Charlie Kirk. The move comes as ABC affiliate groups told the network they would be dropping the host. So right off the bat here, let me just say, Kimmel condemned Charlie Kirk's murder during his monologue the day it happened. He condemned it again the next day, but he was pulled for criticizing the way Trump and MAGA politicians immediately blamed the left without any evidence, which they did all week long. So the story actually gets darker, though, because not only was he indefinitely suspended, but it looks like Brendan Carr, the FCC commissioner, he was basically forcing them to do it. So a tweet here says, Brendan Carr more or less instructed the ABC affiliates to stop broadcasting Kimmel's show and threatened Disney's ability to broadcast ABC over the air. Quote, Disney needs to see some changes here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say this. Garbage to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are. So the head of the FCC threatens Disney and is basically like, hey, maybe you get fined, maybe we'll pull your license if you continue to allow these liberal comedians to make fun of Trump. That's the other thing. In the same monologue, he made fun of Trump because when Trump was asked about how he's doing after Charlie Kirk was killed, Trump immediately pivoted to,
I'm doing okay. And by the way, do you see that our ballroom is under construction? Isn't it looking great? It's going to be incredible. People are saying it's going to be the best ballroom. So this is, let's just call this what it is, guys. This is an all-out assault on free speech and the First Amendment. Now you have the government getting directly involved and saying, we don't like your comedy. We don't like your jokes. We think that was impolite. We think that was unacceptable. Maybe we'll pull your license. Maybe we'll fine you. So here you have the actual government saying what speech is and isn't acceptable. It is actually a First Amendment violation. And again, what you're going to witness is all of the right-wingers who pretended like all they cared about was free speech and the First Amendment and they were anti-cancel culture. Turns out that's a bunch of bullshit. They don't care at all, not even a little bit. And if any of them were principled, they would come out and speak up in favor, in support of Jimmy Kimmel. Because you think it stops here, it doesn't stop here. As soon as they realize they can threaten these stations and the stations will buckle to them, well, they're just going to keep fucking doing it. Because now we have a situation where you have Fox News, Newsmax, and One America News. They're the Republican MAGA propaganda outlets. But then you have a right-wing billionaire buying CBS and putting Barry Weiss, the ultra-Zionist, in charge to control the content. That billionaire is also trying to buy CNN and make them right-wing too. And the remaining outlets, like NBC, ABC, Trump is threatening them and waging lawsuits, right? He just waged a lawsuit against the New York Times, for example. So it's either you fall in line and parrot exactly what the regime wants you to parrot, or we crack down on you and we destroy you. And we take you to court, we launch frivolous lawsuits, we hit you with bogus fines. And so make no mistake about it, guys. Free speech is actually under assault in this country. And it was the president who pretended like he was pro-free speech is the one who's waging the assault. Now, one more thing. So Trump sees how this unfolds. He sees how he got his pound of flesh and they indefinitely suspended Jimmy Kimmel. And then he comes out and says this: great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers, on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. President Trump, President DJT. So
this is some Voldemort shit. Oh, we're gonna have to get our liberal comedy from the streets, yeah? We're gonna in seedy, dingy underground clubs. Oh my lord. Also, by the way, Fat Asses is a great name, Francis. I appreciate that suggestion. I think that is possibly the best one. I think it's an upgrade on Fatapose. But yes, the man truly just says anything, and this is wild, especially because Jimmy Kimmel isn't necessarily like a huge political activist, right? As I don't know, someone said in chat, his show is pretty milquetoast. It's pretty mild overall, and it's not exactly like a huge anti-establishment threat. And yet he's drawn the ire of the government and has been left to hang out to dry. Yeah, exactly right. His show's been on the air for 20 years, and through 9/11, through post 9/11, and nothing happened. Yeah, it's just that this time around, I think Trump has realized that A, he doesn't have to win any more elections, and B, people will just cave. Like everyone caves every time because he's the president. So that power has just been pushed to its limit, and there's just like an environment of fear. A culture of canceling, you might say. This is how right-wingers felt about Obama. Well, I saw Megyn Kelly, who's a former Fox News host, and she was trying to pin the Charlie Kirk shooting on Obama. She said nothing's felt right since Obama. Just like, what? What's Obama got to do with this? So yeah, they still hate Obama. They still think about Biden every day. This is just what the world is now. I think Meg, I think they would have done this as soon as possible if they knew they could get away with it. But this is now the time when the gloves are off, and they know they can get away with like mass censorship in this way without getting any kind of popular backlash. And that's the thing, right? If you don't clamp down, if like all of these media corporations had put up a united front from day one and had not like settled all the lawsuits, they could have created an environment where they weren't at risk. But they all caved immediately because it was in their own personal best interest, and they didn't think about how this would play out on a larger scale if every media organization caves to the president's demands. And it's created this situation where we are here, where every company is trying to protect their own profits, and so they all settle or cave or cancel shows, and that just emboldens the administration to get riskier and riskier and braver every time. Yeah, maybe it was Obama's fault. It was the tan suit, man. Obama fucked us with the with the tan suit. Nothing's been the same since the days of Obama's tan suit. Look at the man. God. Strikes fear into the heart of the strongest American, that tan suit, eh? Thing is, as well, it looks so good as well. The man looks so clean. There's a lot you can criticize Obama for, but I feel like his suit choice isn't one of them. There's no way. I don't think any of us can excuse what the president did yesterday. I mean, you have the world watching. Oh. CEOs and shareholders are wealthy enough now that they don't think about money. They want to consolidate power. So what Trump is doing is aligns with their goals. Well, not with all of them, I would say. I would say like the media organizations are by and large not coming out of this any better. They're losing quite a lot of power because they don't have free speech, which is one of the main advantages that journalists have. But I think they're driven by the same thinking as the rest of the business world, which is they need to look good to their shareholders and they need to keep up their profits. And $1 billion lawsuit from Trump is like the last thing that legacy media needs when it's already been struggling for years at this point. Tan suit's worse than war crimes, man. How they're not straight up terrorist cells operating in the States by now is beyond me. It goes to show the absolute grip propaganda has over the arms bearing patriot militias of America. Yeah, you would think with all of those guns, people would like rise up, but it's not really about ever rising up, is it? Like, people don't buy guns because they think the government's actually going to invade. They just buy guns because they like to shoot things. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, that's a Halloween costume idea right there. Fun fact, why autocracy holds in states like Russia, Belarus, and Turkey is because state violence cannot be resisted by unarmed civilians. USA is not the case. I mean, let's be real. If the US military decides that they want to start killing people, I don't think like your uncle's AR-15 is going to do much against a $200,000 Hellfire missile. Like, I don't know. I think you can overblow how effective an armed uprising would be by the Americans when nobody likes anybody in America. Like, Americans shoot their neighbors. An 11-year-old kid got shot the other week playing like Ding Dong Ditch. There are a lot of guns in America, but I don't know if there's a sense of community that would cause a group armed uprising. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't live there. Yeah, exactly right. The US military can take on the whole world. It's like they have $1 trillion this year. $1 trillion, bro. They're so well funded. I think if they wanted to use the US military, I mean, nobody did anything when the National Guard was nationalized. Nobody gave a crap. Nobody was out there protesting with their guns. I think the way people think about it is, as long as they're not coming from me, I'm still good. I'm seeing Antifa was designated as a terrorist group. Yeah, that was an executive order, wasn't it? Today or something, or yesterday? Not too sure. And also, I think Russia has a more complicated history than just not having guns.
In other words, oh look, we got this one to buckle and cave to us, cave to our threats, our illegal, unconstitutional threats, our anti-free speech threats. Well, now, the few remaining ones, like Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon, well, they haven't bent the knee sufficiently. They're not pro-MAGA enough, and they might make jokes at our expense. So, NBC, you better fucking fire them now. And what's the result of this going to be? Is either eventually NBC will fire them and will, indefinitely suspend their shows, or Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon, certainly Jimmy Fallon will get the message, and he'll be like, okay, no more jokes at the president's expense, because he'll fucking destroy our company if we do it. So all of, network TV is fucking cooked. All of these things are cooked, bro. There's going to be no criticism allowed of King Joffrey here. And, then it begs the question, how much longer until they start coming after, new media outlets? That's the question. Because they're really turning the screws on mainstream media here, and they're turning the screws on ABC, NBC, CBS, all of them. And so, this is exactly what he wanted. And make no mistake about it, guys, it's complete fake outrage. What he said was not bad. What Jimmy Kimmel said was not bad. Jimmy Kimmel condemned the murder every time he talked about the Charlie Kirk thing. And just because in one of these monologues he said, the right is blaming the left, even without any evidence, they're pretending like it's offensive and insensitive and unacceptable. And it's like, this is fucking ridiculous. The cancel culture brigade is frothing at the mouth over if you say anything other than complete fawning praise and adoration for Charlie Kirk. You can condemn the murder and also say, I fucking disagree with him. And here's some quotes of his that I don't like. You can do that. Reasonable people know you can do that, but they're not allowing that. They want you to get fired. They want to destroy your life. They want you to get threats. Even if you just fucking quote him directly and put it out there, they want you to get fired, and they're on a fucking cancel culture spree. So there was a girl in Texas who got arrested for mocking Charlie Kirk after his death. Now, you don't have to like that. That's fucking impolite. That's mean. Whatever you want to call it. It's also fucking legal. This is a free country, or at least it was. So this is horrible, man. And the fact that Trump is out there doing his little fucking end zone dance because he got his pound of flesh and the guy who criticizes him got suspended. Fuck ABC for bending the knee. Fuck them. You're never going to be able to give this guy enough. He's always going to come for more. So there you have it. Not good.
Yeah, I think the only good thing is that legacy media was already on the out. People don't really consume much of their news through Jimmy Kimmel these days on average. So the internet at least still has a voice. But I wouldn't be surprised if they started applying the pressure on social media platforms as well. I do think the one thing that will probably stop that is the fact that I seriously doubt that the president understands how social media algorithms work, and probably thinks that his feed is the same as everyone else's. So he might not realize that YouTube has stuff that's not pro-Trump on it. But that's my speculation, Who knows, eh? Who knows? But yeah, I can't get enough of this stuff, mate. I'm deep in the stories, and it just seems to get crazier every day. Is Nebula good for? I've never used Nebula, Francis. Couldn't say. But yeah, King Joffrey has spoken. King Joffrey has spoken. Okay, so I think we are going to call it there for today. There was more stuff that I wanted to show you, but we can save it all for Friday. And we were going to cover the Nepal stuff, but we'll save that for Friday as well. It's been kicking off there. Yeah, it's getting a little late. It's 10 o'clock, I think. So I didn't have dinner today. Okay. I'm talking to myself now. Okay, yeah, we'll probably call it there for today. It's been really good having y'all on. We'll be back on Friday evening to yap some more, and also back online on Sunday probably as well. But in the meantime, it's been a pleasure having you with me. Hope you all learned a little bit. Hope you all had a chance to decompress a little bit. Obviously, we cover a lot of serious stuff, but we keep it relatively light here. To those in chat, thank you for keeping the chat active. And to those who are lurking, your presence is much appreciated, both on YouTube and Twitch. All I can say is if you can maybe drop a like on the stream before you leave, I think that helps the channel as a whole. But aside from that, I'm going to say thanks to everyone in chat, and we're going to dip, okay? And we'll be back online on Friday. Thank you, Vixil. Thank you, Smile. Thank you to our moderators, Meg and Smile as well, for doing their bit to help, and I appreciate it. Take care, Francis. Take care, Corey. First chat. Thanks, Alexander, Dog Sweaters, Clifford, Zachap. I unfortunately don't have my own woke word. But thanks for chatting. Appreciate it. Mr. Cynic, Meg, John, Zoe, Jimmy, Battletoad, and PBX. That's as far as I'm going to scroll, but good night, gang. Take care. We'll speak again on Friday, okay? Bye. 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 Bye.